dust on a cracked old road. Hat tilted forward, shadows that load. Eyes burn deep like a fire untamed. The nation he loved now barely the same. A voice like thunder, he calls out the lie. Where did the promise go? Why did all die? He holds up the past like a mirror of truth. The ghost of our father screams for our youth. Resurrected ape with a heart full of rage.
Well, hello. Welcome in. So, I was trying to decide if I was going to go live tonight because I'm a little bit tired. More tired than I have been. But I decided that I was going to review something that was thrown out to me by one of our viewers. And it's this interview of Nick Shirly by Nick Freitas. It looks like a pretty good interview. I watched a little bit of the beginning, but I haven't watched the whole thing. But I figured it'd be cool to go over because we've all seen Nick Shirly out there on the streets of all kinds of different places, whether it's Greenland or Minnesota, and all the stuff going on right now. And I figured we could watch this interview of Nick Shirly and then possibly go see some of the events that have transpired over the last few days in Minnesota with these huge ice protests that are going on. So, if you wouldn't mind, throw out a like and a subscribe, and think about donating to help me grow this channel. I have some plans here in the near future. Oh, hello, Law. Good to see you. Here in the near future, I have some plans for a few other things. Been in the talks with some people in the community about some really cool ideas for different types of events we can hold on the channel. So, yeah, I think that would be for fun. Good to see you, Blood Logos. Good to see you, Nexus. So, anyway, what I was going to do is go ahead and review this interview a little bit between Nick Freitas and Nick Shirly. Obviously, Nick Freitas has come out pretty strongly against all the things going on from the leftist paradigm. And as we've seen, Nick Shirly goes into places that are rather tumultuous and kind of surprising that he goes into the places he does and makes it out okay. Because as we've seen over the last few days with, Jake and a few others who have flat out been attacked in the streets to the point of hospitalization. I would say also, if you're the type that would, pray for his safety out there because, wow. But him and others like him give us the footage on the ground and talk to people on the ground to give us an understanding of things that we can't be there for. And so, I thought that would be a worthy thing to review for us. So, if you would, just give me 1 second here. Let me change some things around. Hold on. Where is it? That. This thing here. Remember how I got to that before. That's very strange. Hold on. Can't seem to remember how I get to Interesting. Let me see. Give me just a second here. Maybe a little pixelated. Yeah. Thanks, Emmett. Sorry, you guys. I am trying to figure out where certain setting is. Gotta remember so that I can fix it. Let's see. Content. Live. Enter. That's strange. I do that. That. I don't know how I do that without screwing something up. That one worked, so that's good. Curious. Very curious. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start this video up, and we'll see what they have to say in the beginning here while I look at some of the back end settings here. So here we go. Actually, I'm going to pause that for 1 second. Give me just a second. Hold on. Okay, I think maybe that'll work. How do I? There we go. That's better. Good. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Nick Shirly.
Well, that'll get you guys going. Nick, welcome.
Thank you.
I shot Nick a note on X when everything was blowing up, and I said, hey, I'm sure there's about 1 million people reaching out to you. We've got a great event coming up with a bunch of our investors. And he shot back right away and said, hey, would love to set this up. It took a couple weeks, or I guess a couple days, because I'm sure your phone was getting about 5,000 text messages a minute, but we got it all set. Honored to have you here. I want to talk for as little bit as possible. I'm going to let Nick Freitas drive a lot of this. But I just want you to kind of take the floor. Tell us, who is Nick Shirly? You know, what is it that got you to do what you did? And I know one thing a lot of people don't know, he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, oh, He just bought a phone. He went out to the Leering centers and went viral. So tell them your story of what kind of motivated you to
Leering
get
centers.
involved, and what's it been like since this is all blown up?
Yeah, it's been super crazy because I've been doing YouTube, and like I consider myself an independent YouTube journalist just because I grew up just being a YouTuber, like all throughout high school and everything. I always did YouTube, and then as I grew up and matured, I got more interested into more political topics, and as I traveled, I was able to see how certain things worked. And actually, in 2023, I went to AmFest just to go interview people about what was happening in the country. I thought it'd be kind of just an interesting video to hear opinions of others. And from there, I went down to the border in Lukeville, Arizona, and I started seeing people literally get smuggled over the border, and started interviewing people because I speak fluent Spanish as well. So I started interviewing people. And then ever since then, for the past 2 years, for the past 100 weeks, I've uploaded a video, whether it be talking to people in Greenland when Trump said he was going to buy it last year, or going to the prisons in El Salvador. And then the Minnesota fraud video, I've been working on that for months. And then the man, David, in that video, he reached out and he had all the information. Then we went out and exposed the fraud and got Tim Walz to drop out of re-election.
Hey. That's actually that's actually quite something. You got to think this is more or less a kid, and his work of just going out and talking to people on the street and revealing what's going on, has caused ripple effects to the effect of Tim Walz stepping down from his run. And so, if anything, that shows us that just shining light on some of these situations has an effect. They will act like they're all for these things to the public, especially to whatever they're pandering to. And then the moment that there is the opportunity for the rest of the people to see this and them to realize, oh crap, I've been seen for the full totality of the things that I'm saying, and what the people where I'm leading believe, it actually has an effect. Because a lot of these things are said in pockets, in small areas. And it seems to me that a lot of these older politicians, people like Hillary Clinton, for instance, have this view that they can say one thing in one place and something completely different in another place, and nobody's going to know any better. But the internet has kind of eliminated that ability. That and everything's like permanent. The moment you've said it, it's on record and everybody's seen it and it's saved for good. So good luck evading the things that have come out of your mouth as a politician. So, yeah, I think that this work is pretty valuable. I can't say that I've seen that specifically, Blood Logos, but yeah. Good to see you, Amagad. Good to see you, Scott. Welcome in. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see where this leads, because it's not super long interview, but it's something. Oh, God bless, Rev Russ. Good to see you.
You all know him as affectionately as the Somali fraud guy. I know him as the guy that ended Tim Walz's political career, and thank God for it. I want to say right off the bat, you need to go and follow his channel. And please don't give me this crap where it's like, I don't get on social media. Well, start, because it's guys like Nick Shirly going into these environments. You think CNN was going to cover this?
Hey,
No.
Kat. Good to see you.
MSNBC? No. It was Nick. And so here's the question I have for you right off the bat, because I've seen your videos in El Salvador, which are incredibly impressive, in Greenland and whatnot. And you're a really good interviewer and an investigator, because in part you're genuinely curious and you're honest. But you had a lot of demands on your time. And I mean, we're talking about fraud in the United States government or fraud within the NGOs. There's no shortage of things you could have focused your attention on. What was the moment as you were researching this, as you were working with David, what was the moment where you realized that there was something different here that you had to report on?
Yeah, I originally thought that we'd go to these daycares and you'd be able to talk to people and open up the door. And the first daycare we go to, the whole entire thing's blacked out. it says 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's open. There's nobody inside. And I thought we were just going to be able to go talk to people and get a brochure for little Joey. And I thought that'd be it. But no, everything was literally completely blocked out and they were receiving millions of dollars. Then you'd ask a Somalian, well, when's the last time a child was here? And they wouldn't even give you a response. And so meanwhile, we're all paying our taxes and people are just receiving millions of dollars. And then when I go to the next daycare, same thing happens. And there's nobody there. Go to the next one, same thing happens. They receive $3.45 million. No kids anywhere. And so seeing that corruption where it was
Jeez.
literally like in your face to the point where these people couldn't even give you a brochure. They weren't even trying to hide that they were operating a daycare. And there's multiple other businesses too.
How many daycares did you go to before you got to the Leering Center?
The Leering Center, I think that was like the third one.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about that is you see the Leering Center,
Oh my
and that's
gosh.
only a few blocks away from the Timberwolves Stadium. So that is like right in downtown. Like, how did that just?
Now, did you actually walk up and then see it and figure it out, or did David know?
How in the world do you open a daycare or a child's education center and your signage literally says the Leering Center, but on your paperwork filed probably with the state says the Learning Center, unless it actually still said the Leering Center, which is even worse because how obvious is that this is illegitimate? It's just like the one video we all saw of them trying to change the signage of the place, and they were there overnight into the next day and still couldn't change the stickers for the address because the address was spelled incorrectly. Holy smokes, like that's a special level of either just ignoring it. I mean, obviously, there's a certain level of we just walk past a building or we just drive past a building. We see the words, but we really don't put any thought into what we're looking at because it doesn't affect us at all. But when that place is being owned and run by people from out of our country and they're getting huge government funding to the tune of millions, like he's saying, but there's no children. They're not a legitimate business. They're not actually doing the thing that they're on record for doing. And yet, here they are pulling that money into the community and then what? Funneling it out of country? Or, you know, and just like we saw in the videos of them going and investigating these places, the parking lots are filled with like Mercedes Benzes and BMWs. So these people are driving the highest dollar cars that they can get for the style, and they didn't earn that money. That's just taxpayer money that's just being handed over to them. And their entire communities could be fueled and funded by these fraudulent businesses that are just sucking the taxpayer dollars to fund whatever they want. It doesn't even matter. They could use it for whatever they want after they've collected it. And who's checking on these institutions? Like, if this is an actual childhood based entity, right? A business that's supposed to care for children during the day, who's inspecting these places? Who's looking in on them to make sure that they're legitimate? And what's more is, even if it was legitimate and people were dropping their children off to these places where the signage is all spelled wrong and they're collecting all of this money, like, what if they were educating your children? What if people were dropping their kids off here? That's even scarier. Not only are they sucking the taxpayer dollars fraudulently, but if they were a functioning daycare, what would they be teaching your children? Or whoever's children are being dropped off there? So no matter which way you look at this, it's dirty and disgusting. I don't even know how we got to a point where you have a people group or multiple people groups coming into the country, yanking huge amounts of taxpayer money for fraudulent businesses that have front buildings, basically, where what are they even being used for at that point? You've just got a building being rented and paid for by taxpayer money, and then they can do whatever they want in that building because nobody ever checks to make sure that the building's a legitimate thing. It's wild to me. Leering Center.
Or did somebody alert you that, like, hey, if you're really researching this, there's actually a place that misspells learning? Like, did you find it, or did somebody say, hey, you should check that out?
Well, David, he had all the notes, and he had on there. He's like, "You're not gonna believe this one. They have misspelled lingering," and so that was hilarious. And I didn't think too much of it. And then I go and post the video, and then it just becomes like a meme. But yeah, they were that stupid to put leering on front of Learning Center.
Let me ask you this, because I think the first time we actually interacted on social media was I was talking about what was going on, and I said, you need to understand what he's just uncovered is not government incompetence. This is deliberate. There's a huge difference. Look, I'm willing to.
See, I agree with this statement. Like, I don't know how this could happen without politicians and local government actually vetting it and saying, yep, we're going to give that money to them, knowing that there's no intention of doing the thing, right? I think that that's already coming out, that there was people in office, people like who? I don't know, Ilhan Omar and others who are a part of the community that are benefiting from this and helping to make these things happen. They find the loopholes, they set it up, they help them set it up, and the next thing you know, boom, you've got a freaking fraudulent front business that's taking millions of taxpayer dollars and funneling it into a supposedly refugee people group. It's crazy.
Talk up a lot of things to government incompetence. I've been involved. I've been in the state legislature for 10 years. You see it every day. This was deliberate. And I said, and this is the part where Nick's not just doing something that's incredibly important. He's doing something that's incredibly dangerous. What have the threats been like for you since you've done this?
Yeah, I think instantly, I mean, you saw how the mainstream media turned on me and tried to make me look like some sort of villain. And then all the leftists as well came after me. And I thought, well, wouldn't you guys be happy? I just exposed fraud. And everyone was so mad. And I couldn't understand it. And I started getting photos of people sending photos of a dead person in a ditch, saying that would be me, my mom. People were saying you'd be Kurt. All these other death threats would come your way. And then now I have to have security. While I'm here, I have to have security in my house for my mom. And so it's been weird to navigate that. And it's just crazy that people were mad at you for exposing fraud. And
Yeah, I mean, what does that say to you? This kid goes out, all he does is show up at a business because there's something off about it, asks questions, tries to get a pamphlet for this supposedly legitimate business, and is treated like trash. Then it's uncovered that they're fraudulent, and the entirety of the leftist movement turn on him and threaten violence against him, his family, and all because he skylined a fraudulent business that's taking taxpayer dollars. At what point is that a bad thing? At what point is it a bad thing that an American citizen said, hey, this seems a little bit off, and discovered that there's massive amounts of fraud and taxpayer dollars going to people that shouldn't be getting it, and that's probably the tip of the iceberg. For all we know, this is the smallest degree, and there is far greater. For all you know, there's literally corporations of massive size that are 100% funded by this same kind of fraudulent movement. And if nothing else, this kid's tipped it off. Now we know that things like this happen already, right? We've all already known that, whether it's NGOs or otherwise, politicians themselves. But this kid highlighted something huge, and instead of getting some kind of thank you for stopping a fraudulent movement, he gets threats. Who do you think the people are who are threatening him the most? I mean, besides probably the Somalis who are involved in this specifically, but besides them, who do you think those threats are coming from? Why don't you guys let me know? Who do you think is threatening Nick Shirly?
Tim Waltz, he's calling me far right, delusional conspiracy theorist, a white supremacist. I'm like, dude, we just exposed fraud in your state that you've been fighting since 2019. And obviously he didn't like that. But so that's been crazy to see just how people really have got it twisted to the point where the man who exposes the fraud is the bad person.
Yeah.
Now, where's home for you originally?
Utah.
And so you've been on the road, I mean, pretty much full time? Or
Yeah.
has it been like project to project? And how long have you been doing that?
For the past 100 weeks, I've been on the road. I haven't missed an upload in over 100 weeks. And so, like, I've been doing this YouTube stuff since I was 15, but then I kind of grew up. I went on a mission for my church. I learned Spanish, and then started speaking Spanish. I went to the border, and then from there, I've never missed. And every single week, I've either, whether it's been the prisons in El Salvador or fraud, I've always been posting. So, like, this isn't, like, this to me is just gonna be another YouTube upload. I just was just gonna post it, and now you guys are all listening to me. So,
Jeez.
but
That's crazy.
to me, I was just like, I didn't really think much of it. I go to the gym with my brother, and I post the YouTube video, and then I start working out, and everyone starts posting the clips. I'm like, oh, well, I gotta get home and post my video, and then it becomes the most viewed video ever on X.
Wow.
So that's why.
That's wild.
And to that point, with respect to alternative media, because one of the things that fascinated about me is, or about this thing that I looked into after the fact, was a lot of research had been done on this. A lot of investigation had been done on this back in, before 2020. And it just got buried. They didn't do anything about it.
No
and
kidding.
the media didn't pick it up. And it was you going out there and putting it out to an audience that essentially they couldn't shut down. That was the difference. What do you see as the future for media, for journalism, in kind of this new era where we actually have platforms that we can put on where they're not going to automatically shut us down?
Yeah, one thing I learned this week is that the media just doesn't like you, and they're actually not working for you. They're working for some sort of entity. They're working for some
Absolutely.
party, and they're actually not there to serve the people. In fact, they're there to just kind of spread some sort of, whether it be propaganda or some sort of idea, some sort of logic. They're trying to push it on you, and they're not just going to show you the truth. In that video, I tried to speak with the daycare owners. I spoke with the crazy liberal who's calling me ICE. I spoke with the guy who's telling me he hasn't seen anybody for 8 years. So I literally just showed everyone in a very matter-of-fact way. And then instead of investigating the fraud, they come after me. But I think it's just a pure fact that these media companies are eventually going to dwindle out, especially ones like CNN and MSNBC, because
They have to.
they really don't do much reporting. In fact, they report on me versus
No, they're
like,
just
fraud. I
they're
already said
just
that,
smear
but
merchants,
It's like
right?
crazy to see, and I think they're going to start kind of going after more and more independent journalists because we pose a threat to everything that they are, whether it be their dollars, their viewership, or just their spreading the truth. Because for them, they have to go through all these sort of kind of rules to post a video. For instance, they have to get the approval from their budget. They have to get the guy to go film. They have to have the old man holding this weird big camera. And me, it's just me and my camera and my mom a lot of the times. And then the next day I post the video.
Yeah.
Me,
Well,
my
and I don't
camera,
know if
and
you
my
guys saw.
See what I mean? It's
I don't know
he's
if you
just
guys,
a
I know
kid
raised
who went
right,
out
correct?
and asked the question.
I don't know if you saw the MSNBC, I think it was Response, and it was like, well, Nick Shirley said all of these things, but we contacted and asked the government, and they said that's not going on. So Nick Shirley debunked. Like, you're a journalist? Let me ask you,
does that?
was there any moment, was there any from the threats, right, with you toward your family and whatnot? Was there anything that came in that especially resonated with you where you kind
Do you
of
think
understood
so?
that, okay,
Blood logos?
it's not going to
Do
be
you
the
know
same
that,
after
or?
this?
And here's another
It's not gonna
question:
be the
does it
same.
really matter if he's
And how are
exposing
you-
these things?
How are you
I mean,
responding
we're not
to
looking
that
to
with
him
respect to
for
projects you work on in the future?
any kind
so
of
I actually went back to Minnesota, and for that one I had to
base-based
bring 4
thing. If
security
he's
guards.
just showing
Last
us
time I only had 2, and then I had to bring
corruption.
4. And then obviously
And what's going on the
threats
street.
And just the people being so upset. You have to.
I mean,
I've had to think
obviously
differently.
we
Like I
want-
haven't really been able to go and like I went
I want
home
people
back
to
to
find the
Utah.
right
and
way,
my mom's like,
but-
well, you can't go to the gym right now. Like you people can't.
But
see
at
you
least
at the
he's
gym right now
highlighting
'cause
the
you
things we
have this
should
part
know.
Too. You can't have someone come and find you, and so it's just been like moving to point A to point B, and it's been interesting. So, but I'm happy to be here in Florida because you do feel like everyone's with you.
Well, Nick, let me just say one thing. So,
Yeah,
obviously,
I
I'm not
figured
comparing
as much
myself to
too.
how much you
Blood
just blew
Logos
up.
when he
But since
started
Charlie, it
this,
really is different.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the weirdest threats that come in, the most random things. And the problem I have is I'm named in the Antifa handbook.
I have to say,
And that, like,
it
really,
takes
when
balls
you
to
go to
go
these
out on a
events,
street
especially the outdoor
during these kinds of
the
events
security teams will
with
run
your face
just,
already
it's
being
almost like
known,
Oppo research
like these
on the
guys.
speakers, right? And they'll come back and say, hey, this guy doesn't need security. This guy needs security. And they always reference that. That and the book that was written about Charlie Kirk, Cliff Maloney, and Candace Owens. I don't recommend reading it. It's a hit piece. Charlie's a misogynist, Candace is a racist, and I'm a homophobe or something. And it's a hit piece.
Yeah. I remember you invited me in for that interview. Thanks, Cliff.
We gave her a fair shot. It didn't work out too well. But it's wild. I can't for them to tell me I need security at these outdoor events, like seeing the reactions and just how much you blew up. Like, I mean, I don't want to ask you, are you scared? But like, how do you kind of deal with that? Because it was weird for me to have like a
So
body
crazy.
man with me at an event that we did in Wildwood. Like, I'm a guy that knocks doors, but that's the world we're in. Like, how do you kind of cope with that fear?
Yeah, it's been weird. And I'm not like fearful for anything. Just more, you got to be a little bit more cautious. And what sucked about all this happening is I was always just doing it for me. I didn't want. And then since they couldn't come after me, they then go after my family to try to get to me. And
It's
so that's
crazy.
been
Yeah,
weird. Where it's
it
like,
is complete
all right,
lawlessness.
like I would
And the
love
police
to,
are ignoring it too. That's the other thing.
for instance, to be able to just
Like if you look at the Jake
like not
Lang
have to worry about my family.
thing
Like,
that
for some
happened,
reason, they started like even the
police
news.
see
They
it,
started
they
calling
do
my little
nothing.
sister
They
and
just
stuff like that. So not only am I
shrug
thinking
it
of
off.
myself, I have to now think like, all right, well now if my little sister needs something, I have to be able to do whatever to make sure she's all right too. So it's more just like looking out on a broader spectrum for everything.
You know, you brought up a point here that I think is important, and that is you helped expose just a massive amount of fraud. And now as conservatives, as liberty people, we might say, yeah, this is why we need tax cuts, or this is why we need whatever else, right? This is why there needs to be more enforcement on this. But if you're on the left, you could have said, oh, good, we recovered a bunch of.
Here's a question I have for chat. Just a little bit, blood logos, just a little bit. I don't know a ton. What I would say is like, sure, regardless of what people think of a person or the things they've done in the past, if they are out speaking, nothing else, right? He's out in the road speaking against what's going on, and then he's assaulted for his speech, then they are absolutely the very thing that they claim that we are, that anyone is. And then they attack you in the street. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the guy. All I can say is, even if he's saying inflammatory things, that doesn't give the people on the street the right to attack him. Just like the other guy that was attacked, and then they tried to stab him repeatedly. Luckily, he was wearing body armor, but he's still bleeding down the back of his head or side of his head, trying to escape, and they won't even let him get in a car to leave. It's wild. It's wild. And like I said, there's footage of them walking up to police, the police shrugging, looking the other way as people continually punch and hit and shove them into things and keep them from getting out of the area. And it's like, yeah, you could be a piece of trash human being, but if you're out on the street speaking, nothing more than speaking at that point, even if it's insulting, you don't get to crack skulls over that. I mean, if that's the standard, then that changes the whole calculus for everything and everyone in this nation. And I don't think anybody wants it to be the way that that would be. Yeah. Anyway.
Money that wasn't being used for its intended purpose. Now we can spend it on some other project. But that doesn't seem to have been the response from the left. And the thing I want to ask is, has there been anyone?
By the way, I would direct anybody who is inclined to donate tonight to try and do it through the non-super chat. I'm not saying I wouldn't appreciate the super chats. I do appreciate them, but it would be more useful this evening if it was through Cash App or Ko-Fi or other means that are direct and quicker. They also take less out of those donations, unlike AdSense and Google. Like I said, we have some plans for some cool things in the future. But for tonight, that's what I would ask, and I'll explain the other stuff later on, maybe either later tonight or tomorrow. But do consider. Anyway, here we go.
I mean, anyone that you might identify as a prominent position on the left who has looked at the work that you've done and reached out to you or said anything publicly, which is like, look, we may not agree on everything, but I appreciate that you uncover anybody.
I haven't got a single message, single post on X, nothing. Literally, I couldn't believe it because I was just giving my opinions, and then they start coming after me where they forced my hand to start giving, or I wasn't giving my opinions, I was just interviewing people, and then they like forced me to start giving my opinions because they tried to attack me for exposing fraud. Like, can't we all agree that fraud's bad? But they thought it was a race issue, or they thought it was wrong, but it's because we know that now, obviously they were receiving money. That money is also going to Al-Shabaab, like, what the heck? And they were just angry that their party was being exposed, and we do know that there is fraud in all 50 states, but the majority of the, like, a large portion of the fraud is inside of these Democrat states. And so I was super excited to see when they decided, okay, we're going to...
And if it's not just in the left-leaning states, then what you'll see is that they're from left-leaning organization within each and every state, because it goes right along with that toxic compassion or playing on people's self-ending empathy. Give, even if it hurts everyone but the people you're giving to. Hurting people to help other people. And you see it in just about every form. Yeah, well, it's probably for the best.
HHS said that we're going to freeze the funding for these childcare centers, and everyone has the opportunity to show that.
Look, they preach progressiveness and moving forward and making changes and all this empathy-based stuff. And the truth of the matter is that those are just tools to, like 1984 said, to get the young and the women on their side. Because if they have those two, the men will either follow because they're left with the whole of the youth and their companions or females following it because it's compassion based, or they'll fall away, or they'll just arrest the men and that stand against it. So, like, there's a huge danger in this, and there's nothing actually compassionate about it in the long run. If you look into any of it, it always ends with the harm of all of the people. And it leads to what we've seen of the communist and socialist movements of the past. They push it through the compassion and the empathy. They get all these people on board who think that they're being mother hens and protectors and helpers. And the young don't see it for what it is because they don't have the experience yet. And it just, little by little, tends to fall into complete collapse and destruction. And honestly, it's not even for that sake. It's for the sake of collapsing everything so people who can maintain control at the top gain more power until they have people believing they're in some utopia whilst they're still being governed, and worsely by totalitarian means. So
They're a legit business, and as far to my current knowledge, not a single business has been able to prove that. And so that just shows that that's why they came after me, because I
yep,
just
absolutely
exposed
not
their,
Voltaire.
like there's a reason why Tim Walz somehow raised $35 million the first day of his campaign with Kamala Harris. And whether that be from fraud or, well, I think it's from fraud, but But that's why they came after me, because it attacked their party, because they're committing the large majority of the fraud.
Well, and that's an important question, because this has gotten
This actually reminds me of some of the people out there that are collecting money for all these different causes. And then when you go and you look at what the donation link for the cause is, it's Act Blue, which is just flat out the Democrat political party's donation page. So you're supposedly feeding the hungry or helping these people or those people. And in reality, all of that money is just going straight to the DNC, straight to the Democrat Party. And then they will divvy it up however they choose. You don't even know that that money's going anywhere. It reminds me of like the frauds we've seen for them having Act Blue as the link to donate to firefighters who are trying to save cities. And then when you go and look at the underlying paperwork of it, 5% or less is actually going to any kind of public service, public act. It's fraud all the way down, man.
This has gotten titled or kind of explained as a Somali fraud scandal. Do you think it's a Somali fraud scandal, or do you think it's more accurate to say that this is a Democrat fraud scandal, or is it a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, because 89% of the fraud being committed in Soda, 89% of the fraud being committed is by Somalians, but the people inside the Capitol are the ones cutting the checks, the DHS there. And so Tim Waltz, he said the buck stopped with me, but really it didn't, because he's been fighting it since 2019. I think the buck stopped with me, actually. Tim Waltz decided about that. But
Yep.
But yes,
absolutely,
I think it was
Pumpkinhead.
both issue inside the Capitol, and then the Somalians. I mean, literally, Leering Center had over 90 violations, and they received $1.9 million this year.
Did you edit the last claim that I heard thrown against you that I really wanted to get your take on is that, well, this is clever editing. That's what this did. He didn't actually view it in context. If we had greater context, we would realize, or this was just a couple of bad actors. So here's the
Yeah, see, that's something I keep hearing people push, is that it's not the people. It's not the people. It's not the Somali people. They're good. And it's like, look, I don't think that you should blame the whole of any people for what some people in that group are doing. But if the entirety of the community is where the fraud is happening, and the fraud is benefiting the whole of that community, then maybe you need to take a second look at that community. Because if it's acceptable within that community to commit fraud on a massive scale, knowing, and they obviously know, because the moment you go and look in on anything, they hide it from you, they attack you, they threaten you, they try to drive you out of the area. That means they know what's going on. And enough of them know that it's obviously a problem within that community. By no means am I saying all people who are Somali are bad people who do bad things, but I am saying that it seems that we have to keep an eye on all of the communities that are Somali based, because look at what we're seeing right now. The whole of the community will defend the actions of illegality if it benefits them, which we know is a cause for concern on the whole. So we have to take it for what it is and look into all of it. If the case is that refugee status is being granted to the Somali community, and the Somali community everywhere they go is doing this thing, then it's a problem with the community and the acceptance of the wrong thing for gain.
Is this clever editing? Is this just a couple bad actors, or is what you see what you get?
What you see is what you get. The video's 42 minutes long. Each interaction is not really even edited. It's just, I try to portray it as pure as somebody can, so they can really see what's happening. And so that's why I talk to I try to talk to the crazy liberal who's yelling at me, and I talk to the man who's lived there for 8 years and never seen a child. I try to talk to the daycare centers in multiple different ways, and I asked them multiple times, like, where are the children at? And none of them could even give a response.
Let me play devil's advocate for 1 second, because one of the critiques has been, well, of course, this random guy shows up with a camera asking where the kids are at. Of course, they're not going to say anything, but I mean, they could have given you some useful information. I thought one of the things that he did that was very clever, you're like, look, I have a son. I want to see if I can enroll him for daycare.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody at any of these, how many centers did you go to? Did you have anybody that say, hey, look, for security reasons, obviously we can't have you coming in with a camera. However, we'd love to give you this information. Anything like that?
There was one, and they gave me a rate, and that rate was $200 for a daycare to stay there for one day. And then after that, the police came and kicked us out of the facility because they had 14 healthcare companies inside one building. But for instance, why would
Yeah, again, here you have. No, I didn't see that, Smoking Spaceman. I'll have to look at that next. Notice these 14 healthcare facilities in one building. So not only are they have fraudulent daycare, but they have a whole bunch of fraudulent healthcare titled as healthcare facilities within as well. Like, how much is being drawn by all of these fraudulent businesses housed in these front buildings with no actual utility that just are sucking money? And how much money is the total? Because this is one city in one state in one area, and it's one community. Now you got 50 states with dozens of large cities in each state. How many? How big is the bill?
they have all the doors blocked out or windows all blocked out? Like they don't want people to see what's happening. And that's only a piece of the fraud. You have healthcare fraud, you have adult daycare fraud. Has anyone ever checked their adult into a daycare? And they have childcare fraud, and you'll see in this part 2 I'm posting soon, is the transportation companies is kind of like what keeps it all going.
So when does the part 2 come out?
Well, I got to get home to edit it, so probably, hopefully on Tuesday.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, because again, when we look at this blew up with Minnesota, but we know that's not the only
Yeah,
place that it's
exactly.
actually happening.
Exactly.
Can we expect to see you in other places kind of continue to go down the rabbit hole
Yes,
as far as
Scott.
what's going on, and what might that look like?
Yeah, I'm working on going to California.
See, that's the most insidious part, right, Scott? You bankrupt the country from within, using its own kindness to destroy it. Again, what I said, the left uses compassion and all of these things to manipulate people into giving and helping at their own peril, for their own demise. You give and you give and you give until you can't give anymore. They turn around and give it to people who are your sworn enemy, who you didn't swear as your enemy, but they swore themselves as your enemy. They swore to subjugate you, to put you under their heel. And yet, here you are, working out the money so that the government can turn right around and give it to them who seek to subdue you. And you're paying for your own subduction. You're paying for your own subjugation. Like, this is craziness. This is wicked evil right here.
California right now. I know that's a big one. I was talking to somebody here last night about Pennsylvania as well. There's lots of fraud there, I guess. So, I mean, there's fraud everywhere. But I think it's going to be great because now everyone's kind of seeing this fraud happen. And like Elon tried super hard with Doge, and
So yeah, see, I don't mean that like us taxpayers are giving it willingly to the Somali people in this regard. But what I do mean is, like, we know that our taxes are being taken, and it's on us to petition or to stand up and say, hell no, I'm not paying for that. And to make the stance we have to make. The other part is people are willingly giving to things like Act Blue for the sake of donating to those in need, to donating to firefighters, to donating to all these causes that then just go into the pocket of the Democrat Party, who then turn around and use it to subjugate the American people even worse than we already were. Yeah, imagine no more taxes indeed.
I think that's why I'm getting so much support from him at the moment, as far as just him sharing my stuff on X, because I'm showing people publicly what's actually happening. Because, I mean, 3 to 7% of all our dollars that we pay towards taxes somehow goes towards fraud. And so hopefully it's going to make the government have to be more efficient in all their spending and really prove to people in blue states and red states to where our money's going. Because it's not fair for us to be working hard and a lot of our money to be going to fraud and daycares.
Do you think you become
Look, everybody on every side, when you think about it, thinks that they're the good guy. And there's circumstances related to each and every one of them, for sure. But there are things like theft, and wanton destruction of others for the benefit of yourself that I think do make you bad. And you could say that I believe those things because I am religious, but the truth is that it's bad either which way you look at it. Like if you are willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get ahead, and it destroys the people, and your goal is to put them under your heel, and you're doing all of these things to them, then you are the bad guy, at the very least to the people you're doing it to, regardless. And then you could make an argument that, oh, the US has done that to other nations, and sure, so the America that you would be looking at is a bad guy to those people, but it's a good guy to its people. And so this is a circular thing, and the truth is, it's not about good guy or bad guy. It's about right and wrong. Like if you're doing the wrong thing and harming, tricking, and lying to all of these people, well, then you're doing the bad thing. You're doing the wrong thing to them.
The guy that your life objective now is going to be to expose fraud, or do you think it's, you want to continue to be an investigative journalist, it's more widespread, or is it, no, like, you think fraud is going to be what you're trying to triple down on and exposing?
I think more so just showing people the reality of things for what they are, whether it be fraud, mass immigration, fentanyl crisis, asking who they're voting for, just showing people and me to be able to source for people to go to and say, okay, yeah, maybe Nick's a conservative, but he is giving everybody a shot to give their opinion so that way they can educate themselves as well.
I had two quick questions. First of all, where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, just Nick Shirly everywhere. Shirley Temple for those that are trying to figure out how to spell it.
And the second question is, Nick, how old are you?
23.
I'll end my part with this, and I want to give it back to Cliff. I just don't want to hear it anymore from people that are wondering, like, what can we do? He didn't ask what he could do. He just got up there and started doing it. Right? 23 years old. He's already assuming more risk than most of us do throughout our lifetime because he believes in something. And it all started off with just asking important questions. And this is how he's getting treated. And if we don't come alongside guys like this when they're willing to actually step up there and do something, then we're not worthy of the people that are willing to step up and do it.
I've learned one thing in life: don't ever try to top Nick Freitas. Big round of applause for Nick Shirly.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a pretty noble goal, to go out, ask questions, and find the truth, and just show it blatantly. Like, this is what's happening. This is what's true. Because if you just go out and you ask the questions and you just show the responses, you show what's happening, you show what people are doing publicly, this is just the truth of the fact, right? This is what's happening. And let people see. People can make up their own minds. And, we all know that there's people that kind of fall into that NPC bracket where they're just chanting along and they don't even know why, and they're just doing this thing and they don't know why. But for most people who are middle ground or just normal everyday people, when they see this, they go, wow, that's not right. That's not okay. They don't already have a great affiliation to one political leaning or the other, but they can see that it's wrong. They can see that, oh, that's my tax dollars going to that thing that is a fraud. Who's paying for that? Who's allowing that? Who signed off on that? Why is it happening? Then they can say, well, looks like those people are corrupt over there, right? And I think that's important to show. Yeah. So, something that, was it Scott or was it Smoking Spaceman brought up? Virginia lumber fire? I'm going to look that up real quick. Hold on. Let me first cue this, pause, open this, get the next thing going here. Give me just a second. way. That's wild. Okay, let's take a look at this. That's a hell of a fire. Stop sharing that. Start sharing this. All right, let's check this out. Oh, folks. It looks like a whole operation burning for sure. Insane drone footage shows massive fire. Wow, okay. Huge line of them. But was this intentional? Because if it is, like, I'm sorry, but oh, thank you for becoming a member, Suzanne. Yeah, if it's intentional, that's pretty bad considering we all know that lumber prices have already been skyrocketing over the last several years. I know they spiked and came down a little bit, but this is bad for everything and everyone right here. Yeah, it'll be an economic hit for sure. That's not good. Real not good. All right, so I'll look into that more and we'll see if it needs like full addressing here at another point in time. Let's check this out real quick. See what we got.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. My name is Josh Breslow, and we do have some developing news that we want to get to here at this hour. Take a look at your screen. As anti-ICE protests continued on Saturday in Minneapolis, video shows pardoned January 6th rioter and conservative activist Jake Lang being attacked as he reportedly took part in an anti-Islam and pro-ICE rally. Jake did post this image on social media saying, quote, "I was almost ripped limb from limb, my pants leg literally being ripped off, death before dishonor and replacement. The Lord is my rock and my strength, and he hath delivered me from the mouth of the lions," end quote. Again, that is a post there from Jake on social media. Some footage showed Lang bleeding from his head and stumbling through a crowd surrounding him. Take a look at your screen. Lang was reportedly planning to burn a Koran at Minneapolis City Hall during an anti-Islam rally, but it appears protesters took him down before that did happen. Another video actually showed a man chased into a parking garage and struck in the head with a flagpole by anti-ICE demonstrators. He was then apparently pepper sprayed by the crowd there. Again, you're seeing some of the video here of all of this unfolding just yesterday outside of City Hall in Minneapolis. We also have some of the video coming in out of that area yesterday as tear gas was deployed. Now, a judge ruled federal officers in Minneapolis taking part in the U.S. immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis cannot detain or tear gas protesters who are not obstructing the enforcement officers, and that would include people observing the agents as they are doing their work. U.S. District Judge Kate Menendez's ruling addresses a case filed in December on behalf of 6 Minnesota activists. The 6 are among the thousands who have been observing the activities of ICE and Border Patrol who are in the city to enforce the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. President Trump has now threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, allowing for the deployment of U.S. military forces to Minnesota and Minneapolis if state officials do not crack down on any violent protests that are taking place. Of course, we will continue to follow all of this and bring you much more.
Yeah, it's funny too because you hear them talk about this. They're like, well, Obama and Biden deported more people than Trump did, and and you didn't see riots from the left during that, and the president didn't have to crack down and harm people and shut down protests because of that. And it's like, yeah, that's because you didn't protest because he's from your party. It's the same action, different party. You throw a fit because it's not your party doing it. That's why. That, and there's a whole bunch of discrediting that could be done to them deporting people. So, sorry. So sorry. Yeah, it's not legitimate. The complaints are stupid. Like, well, we didn't riot when it was our guy in office, but we're rioting when your guy's in office. Why are you making us stop? Like, gee, I wonder. I wonder why. Maybe because it's you do billions of dollars in property damage and cause the death and destruction of American citizens. All for the sake of people that are here illegally. Like the law literally states they're supposed to be pulled in and run through a system and put out. Unless they have some claim to asylum, in which case they'll go through the asylum process legitimately and will decide whether or not they belong or they should stay. So, freaking craziness, dude. All of this is wild to me. Like taking to the streets over the deportation or the arrest and processing of illegal entries is crazy to me. And even if you wanted to claim, oh, they've been here for a long time, great. They still need to go through a process to figure out what the hell is going on. So you don't get to just break the law and stay breaking the law and just continue, because otherwise the law means nothing. Immigration means nothing. And we have no border or laws on the border that protect the American people into the future. So, like, either it means something or it means nothing. And if it means nothing, then none of our laws, none of our standing means anything. Good to see you, K2. K2 says, Obama is a rainbow. Mike was in charge. There you go. There you have it, folks. There you have it. The church invasion. Are you talking about the one with Don Lemon? Is that what you're talking about? Let's look. Oh, what? This is so stupid. The things going on in our country right now are so stupid. It really makes me wonder. It's like it's set off on purpose, all of it. It's a purposeful, destructive movement. This is literally what the KGB said in the 80s that would happen from all the stuff they had set in motion in the US, and we're just watching it all happen in real time. Yuri Bezmenov. So they just come in during a church service and do this. Big no-no. Big no-no. Wow, guys. This should be noteworthy to you that Don Lemon is a part of this organization that burst into a church chanting "Hands up, don't shoot," and pushing for the changes in government, but in a church. This man who worked for CNN, who was part of the mass media, is a part of an organization that will disrupt religious institutions that have nothing to do with government in order to try and force people who are of the opposite political party to do what they want. To me, that sounds an awful lot like terrorism. That's what it sounds like to me, to be fair. That right there. You see that? Oh, you guys can't even see it. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Did you guys see any of this? Or did I not ever put it up? Like a dummy. Like, did you see this? Like, here we go. Boom. Protest was disrupted by activists of the Racial Justice Network, with disgraced CNN anchor Don Lemon attending the protest.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry.
Lemon spoke to one of the BLM protesters at the church, with her claiming that the church was harboring someone directing ICE agents. So this is how the atheist, secular, anti-Christian movement bursts into the church and claims that the church is a part of the problem that they see in the country. They connect it to the federal agents somehow at random, and then turn the populace against the church. Yes, Cat, he does have a very punchable face. This is an attorney, Nakima Levy Armstrong. This cannot be a house of God while harboring someone directing ICE agents to wreak havoc on our community. Now, how much do you want to bet that some ICE agent was doxxed in some way, and his name so happened to be on the rolls as a member of this church? And so they came to this church because an ICE agent happens to attend this church. And they're going to make this entire church the enemy of the people for the sake of catching or trying to damage that ICE agent's life. Oh, same attorney. I am a reverend on top of being a lawyer and an activist. So I come here in the power of the Almighty God. So now, this attorney is making claims that they are carrying out the will of God by breaking up a church service to find an ICE agent. This is disgusting right here. Like, absolutely disgusting. None of us should be okay with that behavior. The disgraced former CNN host also interviewed the lead pastor, Jonathan Parnell, who blasted the protesters as shameful. I agree. Shameful.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
But there were folks who will say,
that's what, I have to take care of my flock. And
okay,
my
but listen, we
family.
live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
That's to the government. This is the same argument, the same kind of argument that Steelman made on my channel, if you all remember that. And the argument was that you have to allow the free speech of the First Amendment in all places, in all avenues, in all ways. That's bullcrap. The First Amendment protects you from the government cracking down on your speech. It does not protect you from entering a private business or a house of worship and screaming whatever you want, doing whatever you want, right? You can kick someone out of your home. You can kick someone out of your business. You can call the police on them for trespass. The same is true for a church or a place of worship. They do not have the right to burst in and disrupt what's going on there. This is a leftist talking point now, where the freedom of speech, by the way, only the freedom of their speech, because yours doesn't matter if you believe in Christ, if you are conservative. Yours doesn't matter to them. But they will use this argument as though somehow the First Amendment is supposed to protect you in all places, from all people, at all times, whilst they will not give you the same benefit. This is a two-faced bullshit argument right here.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
According to Fox News 9, a man by the name of David Easterwood is a pastor at the city's church. According to Homeland Security court filings, David Easterwood is the acting field office director in Minnesota. But Fox 9 was unable to confirm if the two men are the same person. Literally the possibility that these people broke into this church, stopped a church service, and caused all kinds of hell inside of that during the time of worship because the man had the same name. They're not even sure if it's the same person. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon has since revealed the DOJ's Civil Rights Division is investigating the church protest. Again, is anything going to be done? I would say it would behoove us, all of us, to make a big enough stink about these kinds of actions that they stop. People need to know that it's unacceptable, that we're not okay with it, that their actions are un-American. That's not a protest. Breaking into a church and stopping worship is not a protest. You've literally taken a protest and turned it into a violent mob that is breaking the rights and consideration of all other people. And if that is the case, you're using your First Amendment to stop the First Amendment of all the people in that church. You don't get to destroy other people's freedoms for your own. So, bullshit again. I think every one of us should be speaking out, letting the world know that this is unacceptable in every possible way and that it needs to stop. I agree with people like Asmongold who said the people out there who are attacking Jake Lang and the other guy who went through the parking lot, they should send the National Guard in there and arrest every last one of them. If you weren't violent, then that'll come out and you can be let loose. But guess what? If you're out on the street committing to violence, slapping people, knocking their hats off, punching people, hitting people with flagpoles, stealing their stuff, busting their windows, you should go to jail. And you should probably stay in jail for a while, because you don't belong in society. You don't belong around other civil human beings. I'm sorry. Sorry. Crystal's Crime Conversations. There is a new guy named Sasha. Not Gay Riley. Saying he was essayed on Epstein's Island. His parents sold him. It's detailed. He left the country. I would love to hear your opinion. I have no idea on the topic. I'd have to look into it. I'm willing to look into it, but really, K2, we need the windmill flags to save us from the commies' rainbows. I don't think we need that. I think we just need to step down on the head of the snake, so to speak. Like this whole thing is a deception and an evil that's trying to implement, like someone said earlier, Pol Pot's movement. Once again, it's the same movement in our time. It's just hiding with new skin. That's what it's doing. Harmeet Dillon, I'm in touch with at AGP Pam Bondi and the FBI. We are all over it. We are investigating potential criminal violations of federal law. In fact, I dare say, this is what I would say. I would say that this whole movement is nothing more than the same lies told in the garden by the serpent, right? That you will be as gods, that you will not die. All these things that was told to Adam and Eve by the serpent in the garden, or to Eve by the serpent in the garden, are the same lies that the left pushes to gain a following, to convince them to do all of the wicked, evil crap that they are pulling in the world today. They're condoning it, and it's the same lies. It's the same movement from then till now. And these people have bought in. They've taken these ideologies hook, line, and sinker, that they are the most important thing, that they should worship themselves, that they are what matter. That's why your freedom of speech doesn't matter. Only theirs does. Why? Because in their mind, they are God. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Unapologetic preacher. Exactly. And that's what the movement shows. It shines through in everything that they're doing. Harmeet Dillon, a house of worship is not a public forum for your protest. It is a space protected from exactly such acts by federal criminal and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. You're on notice. I agree. We should all be saying that. Even if you don't believe, even if you're not Christian, even if you're not a believer in anything, even if you have no belief, if you're an atheist, this should disgust you. Because if nothing else, these people have trampled other people's rights because of their feelings. They have trampled the sanctity, even the separation of church and state, if you wanted to call it that. They have misconstrued everything to the point where they are so self-righteous and so self-important that they can destroy whatever they want so long as they get their way. Following mass anti-ICE protests in Minnesota, the Pentagon has ordered 1,500 U.S. troops to prepare for possible deployment to the state. I saw the Army National Guard in Alaska has been put on notice, and they are paratroopers. I don't remember who they are, but cold weather trained to come down and basically act as lockdown procedures if this continues.
Well, 1,500 American soldiers have been ordered by the Pentagon to prepare for possible deployment to Minnesota. That's according to a defense official. State officials have also mobilized the National Guard to assist with tasks such as crowd control and support for law enforcement. The Minneapolis Mayor Jake...
How many of you guys have heard that a whole bunch of the protesters, they're not protesters, but how many of these protesters have been shipped in from like Oregon and Washington and California and other states and are on some form of payroll through Act Blue? Have any of you heard that? That's true. Oh my God, I think that that's a good point. I think most of these protesters lack any serious meaning in their lives. Therefore, they cling to anything that seems to give them the same sense of a higher purpose. I agree with that. It's the hole within them that God's supposed to be in, that Christ is supposed to be in, and they fill it with whatever else because they're too rebellious to accept that Christ is King, that Christ is God. And instead, they put whatever other thing they can put in there. And to them, this is compassion. To them, this is good. This is doing the right thing, being on the right side of history. And so that looks like a higher purpose to them. And because they worship themselves, the only morality they can glean is that of the crowd.
Frey believes the act is to intimidate the state's residents.
I don't think Holman understands the basic dynamic as to how stuff works in Minnesota here. But the bottom line is, as we know, this is not about safety. It's not about crime. This is about intimidation. And in Minneapolis, we're not going to be intimidated.
The boost in troops comes in the wake of a...
I love that. That's another twist right there. Look at that. You're going to twist it, turn it upside down. He thinks that ICE is about intimidation on the city of Minneapolis. In reality, look at those streets. I don't see them filled with ICE agents or military. They're filled with protesters from other states and other areas coming in and intimidating the people of Minnesota into allowing all the illegals to stay and ICE to get out. That's what this is. So he flipped all of it on its head. He inverted it completely to make it seem the opposite to what it actually is.
Shooting involving ICE agents in the American state.
One investigation point
Well, as anti-ICE
with like
protests
6 or 7
continue
guys.
across the US, protesters have been
There was
given
more
civil
non-ICE
protection
people
through
there
the
than
federal
ICE
court.
people
The
watching
new
them,
ruling limits
filming
the
them.
powers of ICE to detain and use tear gas on protesters who are not obstructing officers.
In a new ruling Friday, a federal judge in Minnesota...
Well, the question would be, Yessie, is it a powder keg to put ICE in there because of this, or is it a powder keg because ICE was there and the people were sent on buses and through emails and every other thing to get their butts there and stop ICE? Because I would argue that this didn't happen because ICE was there. This happened because people showed up because ICE was there. See, ICE has a mandate to arrest illegals and to get them out of the nation. And if the mandate from the president, who is the sole authority on border policy, then he had every reason to do this. And it's illegal for him to do so. So, yeah, well, now there's so many people there. like I said, there's already tons of reports coming out saying that people are being shipped in from Oregon and other places. These aren't the residents or the citizens of that state even. So why are people from a different state that has nothing to do with this exact thing coming in and saying that they're protecting their neighbors from ICE and then causing violence? Whether it's the attacking of right-leaning speakers or ICE agents or whoever at this point.
Bars immigration agents in Minneapolis from detaining or using tear gas on protesters who are not obstructing authorities. District Judge Kate Menendez's injunction is in response
For not obstructing. Do you hear that? Hear that language? Using tear gas on protesters who are not obstructing. The problem is, if you have 1,000 people on a tiny road blocking all of the traffic and keeping anyone from doing their job, guess what? You've already officially obstructed. Yeah. You cannot block and stop and impede federal agents in the act of an investigation or the act of an arrest and expect that they're not going to arrest, detain, stop, remove, or take your life because you have now crossed a line. If it's the duty and the mandate of them to arrest, to investigate, to do the things that they're doing, and you are obstructing it, you are no longer a protester. You have now crossed the line into criminality.
to a lawsuit filed on behalf of 6 Minnesota activists back in December. Minnesota's Attorney General thanked those activists, writing on X, quote, "This preliminary win matters for every Minnesotan, exercising their constitutional right to peaceful protest and witness."
That isn't peaceful protest. What? I don't know what that means. Frosty Synodad. Synod dude. You can't obstruct. If you're going to protest, you stand off to the side. You don't block the roadways. You don't block the agents. You don't stop the investigation. You don't, like, all of these things are already known as things that are illegal for you to do. It'd be the same as running up on a police officer, arresting somebody for a crime they've just committed, and stopping the police officers from arresting the person. It's the same thing.
With the latest ruling, federal authorities are blocked from detaining those peacefully protesting.
See? Right there.
Or safely following officers.
Those are
adding,
not
quote,
protesters. You're not protesting if you're blocking police and federal agents' vehicles from movement. That's obstruction. Obstruction of justice is a crime. You have stepped into criminal territory.
appropriate distance, unless there's reasonable suspicion that they are obstructing or interfering with agents.
Tell me how this is not obstruction. How blocking all of the roadways so no one can go anywhere, including the ICE agents, is not obstruction.
Critics argue that officers also need to be protected from, quote, dangerous rioters.
What we've seen from a lot of these agitators and violent offenders is that they're spitting on our law enforcement. They're weaponizing their vehicles against our law enforcement. They're hitting, pushing, shoving.
As anti-ICE demonstrations continue nationwide, state authorities are urging the public to...
No, dude, I'm saying that no one should be attacking anyone. No one should be pepper spraying anyone. If there's not somebody being violent or attacking in any way, shape, or form, then you ought not either. The moment that people are pepper spraying or physically attacking other people, they've crossed lines. Even if they were inflamed by rhetoric or words they couldn't handle, you don't get to attack them or pepper spray them. Like, all of it's not okay. And you can say, oh, once I got riled up by this thing. Well, yeah, that's kind of, at the very least, how we see a lot of the media working. That's true, Blood Logos.
Keep
That is true.
protests peaceful.
I mean, this is what we're being shown in spades repeatedly.
Jeopardize public safety will not be tolerated. Demonstrations must remain safe.
Critics of the judge's decision say it's an attempt to micromanage ICE's actions.
Department of Justice has also announced it has launched a criminal investigation into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
Authorities in the U.S. Midwestern city of Minneapolis have been dealing with more protests this weekend. There's been unrest since the fatal shooting of 37-year-old mum Renee Good. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is beginning...
Why do they always say it that way? Do you hear that? Why do you say it that way?
Meanwhile, the Trump administration is beginning investigations into the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, and Renee Good. Have been dealing with more protests this weekend. There's been unrest since the fatal shooting of 37-year-old mum Renee Good.
37-year-old mom, Renee Good. Okay. She's just a 37-year-old woman who drove her car into an agent. Why would you say 37-year-old mom, Renee Good? Like, it's a game of words, people. Never forget that words are weapons, words are tools, and they are often used as such.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration is beginning investigations into the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, and the Minneapolis mayor over alleged obstruction of federal law enforcement.
In Minneapolis, federal
Good night,
agents
Kat. God
clashed
bless.
with protesters
Rest
once
well.
again Friday, including when one protester in an animal mask danced in the street outside of the Whipple Federal Building, which has become ground zero for anti-ICE protests in the city. Federal agents quickly approached that person and forced them to the ground.
When we think about where the chaos is coming from, who is creating these violent environments, those are ICE agents. That's Border Patrol.
Local leaders are placing the blame for the current climate in the state on the Trump administration.
What we're seeing on our street.
Oh, imagine that. Ilhan Omar came out and spoke out against ICE.
Streets is unnecessary abuses of force. This is an invasion for the sake of creating chaos by our own federal government to interrupt the daily lives of tens of thousands of people.
State and local law enforcement agencies are already preparing for planned demonstrations slated for the weekend ahead, urging the community to remain calm and ramping up police presence.
I wonder where all these people were when there was rounding up and hunting down of people in other countries that were doing nothing but believing something, like believing Jesus is their Lord and Savior. Where were these people when that was happening? Or where were these people when all the other horrors have happened in the past? They weren't there. They're only here now that the Democrats have told them that illegal immigrants can't be illegal. People can't be illegal. People who come into your nation without paperwork, without a right, without a reason, without following the legal process aren't illegal, because nobody can be illegal. Don't worry, they'll turn right around and call you a colonizer, though. You don't belong here, but people who cross the border illegally are just fine.
While peaceful expression is protected, any actions that harm people, destroy property, or jeopardize public safety
Yeah, exactly. Not Voltaire. Exactly. Wild times we're living in, people. This is nutty, if you ask me. Like, holy smokes. Don't fall for the shit. Listen to the words. I'll have you know that the words will tell you so much, and they use them, they twist them, they sensationalize, they manipulate. Listen to the words. Why'd they throw in those details specifically, right? If they're giving you just the facts, like this person did this thing, why would they bring in the fact that she's a mom. Notice they didn't say wife and mother. Why didn't they say that? They just said mom. Well, she's a mom of children, but what does that have to do with what she did and why she was shot and what was happening? Like, what does that have to do with it, really? It's to tug at your heartstrings, which is what the left does. They're going to tug at your heartstrings to get you to do what they want. They have no moral grounding, so they're going to utilize your natural predispositions. And again, if I can find it, I'll show you. I will show you. Hold on. You can say what you want about the person who wrote it or whatever, but it was always the women, and above all, the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies and nosers out of unorthodoxy. So, like, even when the book 1984 was written, there was an understanding that they would use compassion, kindness, and care to twist and manipulate people who have those natural instincts to love and care and be kind against everyone. A Michigan visor. I think you should do that at Mr. Bill's. Go to Mr. Bill's channel and tell him you need to get a Michigan visor, and then, or send it to him. Just flat out send it to him. Yeah, I always say, not Voltaire, that it's not that we're in 1984. It's more like we're in a conglomeration of 1984 and A Brave New World and Fahrenheit 451 and all of them combined. And we're in like the center point of a conglomeration of all of it. Because like A Brave New World, there's Soma. There's all of these different SSRIs and everything else to keep people docile and doing what they're told. And technology and an overabundance of stimulation, and everything's fine. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and there's no laws or rules. And then there's also the Big Brother part and the party and all of that. Like, all of the nasty things are like guidebooks for this group of people that has latched on. Animal Farm, exactly, Scott, and is using those very ideas that were used as a cautionary tale, but they're using them as a playbook. For instance, you take all of those books and then you look at like rules for radicals, and then you implement all of the stuff that you see there, and you have what we're living in today. And it's not America, by the way. It's not just America. You look at Canada, you look at the UK, you look at any first world country, you look at Japan, you look at all of these countries. They're all living through the same crap. That's why we have the rise of extreme feminist movements, of complete liberalism and leftist ideology, and the falling birth rate, and the degradation of the nuclear family. All of these things are linked and tied together by the exact same underlying promises that were told by that very serpent in the garden, and we're still seeing them today because of the rebellious heart. Yep, do what thou wilt. It's the whole of the law. Yep, terrible, Dave. It's terrible. I would say Dave, the better slogan or the better idea is God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven, right? And I think that this all goes back to the worship of self, which is probably the greatest disease man has, is that worship of self. So yeah, unfortunately, that's where we're at. So, to those of you out there, anything you have that's going on that you would like me to address? Because there's plenty. There's definitely plenty. Let's see. What do we see? What's going on out there? Well, we've made it through the portion of reviewing that's a good one. Oh my God, that's a good t-shirt. And even if it's almost like it's subliminal, because people will be like, oh yeah, I remember that book, if they've read it, right? And they'll be like, not an instruction. Especially normies who don't see all the things that we do, but the rise of ethno-nationalism in popular discourse. What are my thoughts? Okay, so I think that ethnicity or cultural groups, I don't think ethnicity is inherently the same culture regardless. I think that there can be a division, but I think that usually what happens is an ethnicity has a cultural outlook on the world or a framework they live within. And I think that oftentimes they do not mesh well with one another. That's not to say they can't, but most of the time they don't. And the reason you see successes in places like the Scandinavian countries is because there's a certain level of homogeneity. And even they, at this point, now have an influx of different cultural movements and different ethnicities coming in large enough numbers to try and push for changes in their laws. For instance, it is not illegal to burn holy books in the nation of Norway. But if you burn a Bible in the streets, people will be disgusted and they may say something about it. They may tell you it's wrong and you shouldn't do that. But nothing is going to happen to you. On the other hand, if you decide you're going to try to burn a Quran in public, they will come for you. And as we've seen in the US, the same thing has happened multiple times where they're doing an act of their First Amendment by burning a book, and they will be beset. And so that right there is how you see the difference in cultural values or cultural norms from different ethnicities. And so what happens is people look at the things going on in our country, the Somalian fraud stuff that's going on right now, movements like what I just said about Norway or the UK or big cities in the US, and they go, well, if the issue is our culture does not mesh well with that culture, then that culture shouldn't be here. And the next logical step is to say, because that cultural preset or framework came from that ethnic people group, then we don't want them either. And it becomes actually hard to even refute at some points because there is such incongruity without a full assimilation to the cultural set and values of the place you're going, that if that doesn't happen, it won't work. It can't work. Because if they're diametrically opposed, one side is seeking to have that be the norm. And so long as both sides want theirs to be the norm and they're opposed, they're going to have to fight it out in some way. God bless you, Scott. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. Rest well. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same thing, Frosty. So what we see is like we already had civil rights movements that made things equal across the board, and then we implemented stacks of new stuff on top of those that weren't needed because those laws already existed in order to soup up, so to speak, the victim class or the victim mentality of certain groups of people. And by doing that, we offset the entirety of the system, and now we're off kilter to the point where it's just a fight in every direction all of the time. This is why you see things like Trump cutting out the DEI programs, because as much as people want to argue that the DEI programs are just to make things more fair and to balance things out, that's what the civil rights movements were for. That's what the civil rights laws were for. So if those already existed, then why'd they need an entirely new set in order to set quotas and to set special privileges to people of different ethnic groups to get benefits that people of other ethnic groups don't? Which, to me, that just sounds like straight out racism, like flat out. Like any policy that you set that favors one group of people based on their ethnic group, you have, in essence, just committed racism. The very thing that you are seeking to dismantle and get rid of, that seems to be semi-natural in the human race, you're trying to cut that out by creating even more racist policies. Like, good Lord. And how do you not see that either? Like, how do you not see that you're saying these people need a leg up because of this issue? And that issue tends to be their ethnic group, and that their ethnic group suffers from such thing, whatever it is. And so we need to give them more, whether it's more rights, more benefits, more consideration, whatever it is, simply because of that. And then they'll try to twist it back on you. Well, no, we're talking about their class. They don't make enough. Well, why don't they? Well, it's because their skin color has suffered more historically. So because of that, then they're in that class, so then they need those. Well, that's still racism. You're still committing racism at that point. You're saying at some point, people of this ethnicity suffered this thing, so all the people of that ethnicity from that point on need help. You're calling them inferior by doing that. Their own laws are doing that. So the very thing that they're preaching against, telling everybody to stop doing, they're doing, and they're doing it in such a massively epic way, bigger than you could ever do it yourself, that it makes me wonder, what are you blind? Because it seems like you're just promoting and pushing the very thing that you're saying you're against. It's ass backwards for sure. Yesy. Oh, you sent me a clip in Discord, did you? Let me look. Okay. Prouder, huh? Okay, 1 second, I will pull it up. Okay. Share it here. All right. There we go.
A historic moment not seen for almost a decade.
So much red.
A Canadian Prime Minister alongside China's president in the Great Hall of the People.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Ooh.
Wow.
Let's talk about Canada. I would like to see a fundamental.
So Canada wants the Chinese world order, it seems, huh? Or at least the head of the government does.
Shift in our mindset. And I mean, even with the administration, a lot of the times when we're talking about Venezuela, when we're talking about Iran, it could be Russia, Ukraine, any conflict, people say, well, international law, and we kind of discussed that. They say, well, what if we lose our allies? Then things could be unstable.
No, that's not enemy at the gates, Voltaire. That's enemy on the throne.
And at risk. I want to let you guys know something. What controls the behavior of unstable actors in the world is only the United States. It's only the might of the United States, period. So what we do determines how the rest of the world acts. That's the real world. It's not NATO. Certainly isn't the UN. And so we should approach Canada with that mindset. Because when you understand reality, well, then it makes the decision really easy. As the world changes and people pick sides, do you want to be a part of the New World Order? Canadian Prime Minister's words, not mine. Or the America First Order, the American-led order. Just so you know, you've actually been living under the ladder. It is the United States. It is the United States. That is the only reason, Canada, that you are allowed to be. It's not NATO. It's not the UN. The only thing that fends anyone off and acts as a deterrent is the military and economic might of the United States. And there isn't even a distant second. People will say, oh, that's why people don't like you. Americans are arrogant. Okay, great. So what? You're welcome. That's my response. You are welcome. And I know this all too well because I spent my formative years in Canada. I really hope that Alberta sees what's going on and they consider separating. We would love to have you as an ally. So Canada, their prime minister, yesterday, he was in China. By the way, he's been very cozy with China for a long time. And bootlicking would be putting it mildly.
Indeed.
That's lovely.
A historic moment not seen for almost a decade.
So much red.
A Canadian Prime Minister alongside China's president in the Great Hall of the People.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Ooh. It almost seemed like he didn't want to say it. Like he was being forced.
Yeah, but he said it.
Oh.
By the way, I'm going to issue my 5-point plan or 5 points of demand from Canada and what we do with them. Because I want to offer solutions just like we did for housing, just like we did for healthcare, just like we did for voting. And I don't think this one is that difficult to solve. You just heard him. He has chosen to align himself with China instead of the United States. He then clarified the New World Order remarks to Bloomberg, and it's not great.
Yesterday, when you met with Premier Lee, one of the things you said in the public remarks was this partnership, Canada and China, this new partnership sets us up well for the New World Order. What did you mean by that? What is the New World Order?
Well, it's a great question, Brian, because I think the world is still determining what that order is going to be. And let's be clear what we're talking about first and foremost, which is what is going to govern global trade? What is the role of the WTO going to be? How important are bilateral deals such as the one we're developing? Use fancy word, like the architecture, the multilateral system that has been developing these is being eroded, to use a polite term, undercut, use another term.
Big $5.
So the question is, what gets built in that place?
He really likes to explain to you that he's going to use words.
It's true. Yes.
I'm going to use a fancy word. I'll use a polite term. I'll use a different term. We're familiar with terms.
Thank you.
And words, Carney.
Man that makes a Chinaman look tall.
We don't need your retard schoolhouse rock, okay? Can somebody pie him so that I don't have to do it?
Those were the days.
Yeah. Yes, just to give you an idea how unserious a country Canada is. Their prime ministers, not assassination attempts, successful pieings. I know what you're asking yourself. No, you don't just mean that. Yes, a pie in the face. And not thrown at distance. I mean up close, Bozo the Clown, and twist. And no one did a thing.
Ooh, a twist?
Yeah.
They got to grind it into their face.
It really is humiliating when that happens. It's like, oh, this is bad. That's worse.
Dunk take next.
Now, if you guys don't remember this, Carney, he has Carney in the name.
That's true.
Yeah, that's so silly. Carney's the one who said
it's a proud family of carnival workers, and you are being disrespectful, sir.
China to be at the head of trade.
Look, just because you couldn't put the basketball through the baseball hoop.
Yeah, I mean, he had a very different tone just prior to the election. Here's the thing. I agree with some of the things he said there.
I think the biggest security threat to China, Canada is China. We're heartened by the leadership of President Xi Jinping and the speed with which our relationship has progressed in recent months.
Less than a year later.
The progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
So he's either just a
and
flat out
obviously,
liar,
the new deal
or
is Canada will be allowing Chinese vehicles in, their electric vehicles. They're going to drop their tariffs. China will drop their tariffs on Canada. There's going to be cooperation on energy development, and China is going to allow visa-free travel. So he covered a lot of this in one of his conferences.
Prime Minister, less than a year ago, you said that China was the biggest security threat to Canada. Do you still believe that?
The security landscape continues to change.
Give us a term.
And in a world that's more.
I can't even believe that you would go on to like the media stage with another country and blatantly say a new world order in regards to trade on a global scale, especially like China, when you know all of the things that have happened over the last 5 to 10 years. I see it, Grump. Thank you. I can't believe that you would make those kinds of claims, right? Like, you as the Prime Minister of Canada want to thank China and let him know that you are on board with him for the New World Order of China leading trade globally. Which, by the way, I think I don't see how you could see it any other way. But at that point, you're saying, I want China to dictate monetary policy as well for the global order, which is crazy, beyond crazy to me. When you look at the economic games that are being played by China, the currency manipulation that they do on a massive scale, the sneaky behind the back property / technology theft that happens, all of it, just everything. And you want them at the head of that new order. See, this to me screams of, we know China already has some level of power, and we already have allowed China to get their hooks in too deep, and I need to bow at the feet of the people that already hold that much power over me. Even though he's got the U.S. on his southern border. And it's just like Crowder said, Canada owes its continued sovereign existence to the strength of the U.S. Without the U.S. there, if it was any other country with the power that they currently hold, Canada would not be in the same position that it's currently in. It wouldn't be able to function as it currently does. If the neighbor was China, for instance, or Russia, Canada wouldn't be Canada. It wouldn't be allowed to remain itself. So, it's got to be nuts to even think that that's the best path. Wait. Original Vintage says, the U.S. does it too, man. Not an excuse or advocating for China. That said, Canadians are against the U.S. I agree that not Canadians, but the Canadian government at this point is against the U.S. I would say, yes, we've had liberal-leaning presidents or leftist presidents do similar things that this guy is currently doing. The problem I would have with that is that the whole of Canada put this guy in office, and they don't actually put conservative people in office. It's not like the US where we go back and forth. Canada's pretty much just stayed leftist for a really long time. And they're progressively headed left. Like, it's not like they just got there or this is a one-time thing. It's like they're constantly doing this very thing. And that wishy-washiness of whoever a powerhouse that looks like they're gaining footing and might be able to topple the current world order, we're just going to bow to them. And my guess would be that Carney here is going to do the same to every nation that has any kind of power or greatness over the top of Canada. And the only reason that he doesn't do it to the US is because there's a standing leftist hate worldwide for Trump. Not that everyone worldwide hates Trump, but leftists worldwide hate Trump and are united in that hatred. And they're actually united in their hatred against conservatism and people who stand against things like abortion or other things that we see as horrific. So I would say that that's the difference. I agree that New World Order has been used as terminology and people have bowed to places like China, but it seems to be a brewing problem on a huge scale. Because the U.S. can't have the sovereign nation to its north, the sworn ally, and, I don't know, puppet to another power that isn't currently the world power, but is trying to take down everybody in the way to get there. We can't have that. So I think this ends badly in the long run, for sure. So we'll see.
We're dangerous and divided. We face many threats. That's the reality.
But does that threat from
Next
China still
question.
exist?
What do you think?
I'll refer to my previous answer.
I will refer you to terms,
yes,
and words and answers that have been spoken word.
If you'll notice earlier, I said architecture.
I did.
So
I don't want to be
that doesn't
too,
answer your question.
I don't want to be too fancy, but jambalaya.
I defer to my friend, Mr. Vandelay.
Yes.
And also acronyms, NWO.
Yeah. So here's something else. Canada, as a country, I hope you're listening, Alberta, they don't view themselves as an ally of the United States. If you actually look at the recent polling, Canadians view China more favorably than the U.S.
That's wild. That's crazy to me. That is bonkers, folks. And that's a poll, like a poll of the citizenry. That's crazy to me, gents.
China is at a, do you have that number? Is at a negative 49, meaning a net negative. The United States at a negative 50, which is funny for a place that allows people to wear burqas on their driver's license. May I present to you, to use a word, Uyghurs? May I present them to you, Canada? Is it, because America is an evil empire? All right. How does China treat its dissidents? What do you think happens if you as a Canadian go to China and protest the government peacefully compared to if you do so in the United States? Hey, tell me about the immigration laws in China. Tell me about the rights that immigrants have in China.
I find it surprising. I find it
Tell me about the rights of the family
disturbing, mostly.
in China. Tell me about human rights. Tell me how progressive they are on gender equality, on LGBTQAIP. Tell me about all of it. You think the United States is worse? Look, your inferiority complex is showing. And I'll
see, that's where I agree. Like, if you're going to say that there's you have greater allyship to places like China or name the country outside of the U.S., right? And then you're going to rank the U.S. as a negative. My question to you would be, what are the values you share in your country overall, like constitutionally or legally or whatever you want to say, with that nation and then with the U.S.? What values are shared, right? And I would say that most Canadians probably share more consistent values with the U.S. and our culture and our way than they do with, say, China, which I dare say probably most of them don't even understand what China is or how China functions or any of that. They just see what reports come out on the news and they hear what NATO says or they hear what, whichever group that's on the international stage, they just listen to them and they go, oh, that must be true. And just like the tariffs thing was tried to spin it against the U.S. in favor of China. Like, are you kidding? Okay. Sure.
Alberta, if you are different from the rest of the country.
Yeah, I know, not Voltaire. That's something maybe most Americans don't realize or understand, but like Canada has pacts, military pacts with China. China is allowed to train its troops within the borders of Canada and has shared training regiments with Canadian military. Tell me how that makes sense. China is allowed to train its soldiers just north of the U.S. border. Yeah, we should totally be okay with that. When China wants the downfall of the U.S. and the West so that they can rise as the world power. And Canada's over here saying, yeah, I'm in for it. Let's get the new world order going. Sorry, you have to be a dullard to think that that is a good idea. Sorry.
You better start moving quickly.
Not sorry.
Because as far as I'm concerned, Canada right now has presented themselves as a national security threat. That's not hyperbole. I mean that. You cannot align yourself with one of the most evil.
That's actually another thing. I've talked to a lot of people from a lot of places, and it seems to me that the media they get is all of the leftist media. They don't even get the things of what's good or what the conservative side sees in the U.S. All they see is that Trump is evil. ICE is like secret military police, just like in World War II, going around the nation arresting people and killing people and doing whatever they please, whenever they please, however they please. Like all of those things are what's being said to these other nations who don't know the U.S., who don't know what it's like to live here, who don't know what's actually going on. All they get is like CNN and MSNBC level media in those countries. And then when they go online to look and see what's going on here, they're going to see what they recognize, right? Which is the leftist media, and they're going to have more trust for it. And it's blowing my mind more and more all the time that like plenty of either developing or third world countries look at the US and think everything that the liberal media is saying is true. Automatically. And it's not good for the future, that's for sure.
Countries in the world, and certainly historically responsible for more death, carried out by their methods of evil throughout history. And today, our greatest adversary, and claim that you're our best friend. Canada has never acted as America's best friend. So here's what we need to do with Canada, to be clear. Here's my 5-point plan, I believe, for Canada. And then, by the way, that will then determine what needs to happen after. So here's what we do. Canada, these are our demands. 5. Number 1, close your border immediately at your own cost. Right away. No flow into our country. You promised you would. You start tomorrow. I want to see construction workers building your border tomorrow with, of course, full reviews available to us upon request. Number 2, you cut all of your deals that you were just planning to make with China. Okay? Matter of fact, cut all your deals with China until further review from us. Number 3, you stop allowing China to do this transshipping to the United States through Canada, right? We say you can't do this. They ship it to Canada, then it comes through the border. We want to be able to monitor that. You stop that immediately. Number 4, you drop any and all trade barriers or tariffs with the United States. You first, you drop all of them. Number 5, you meet your NATO obligation today. Not 2032, not 2037, right? Oh, I know you have other costs. Maybe you'll have to slash your socialized healthcare. Maybe you're going to have to slash some of your social services to meet the contract you signed, 2% of your GDP on military spending. Now, not you plan for it, you start paying 2% now. Now, until then, until you do these things, the United States will, number 1, take in no Canadian oil. We will refine none of it whatsoever. Number 2, we will ramp up tariffs to the point that they will be crippling. And I know what you're thinking. You can just throw yourself in the arms of China. No, that's number 3. We're going to block all of the China trade routes. That's 85% of your trade with China has to go through or around Alaska. That wouldn't be hard for us to do. And by the way, China's not going to wage a war for you guys. Nope. They're going to show up, see our ships, and head right back. We can strangle your country. And we should, because you've aligned with the enemy. And you're right there in our own backyard with a border that is unprotected.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Far more land covered with that border, by the way, than Mexico. You want me to repeat it really quickly, just so everyone understands? Again, I mean every word that I say. Number 1, close your border, Canada. These are our demands. You cut off your deals with China. You stop allowing China to transship through you. You don't play that game. You drop your barriers. You drop your tariffs in the United States. You meet your NATO obligation immediately, not a few years from now. Until then, we will refine nothing. We will take in none of your oil. We will ramp up tariffs, and we will block your new buddy in China from getting anything to you. Alberta, if you don't like these terms, you should separate. Don't have to be a part of the United States. You just have to make sure you're not a part of Canada. And we would be happy to trade with you and make a new friend. And let's actually be friends. You guys let me know what you think about that. I mean every single word. I would like to see it start tomorrow. We can't allow this in our own backyard. This is the only alternative.
Sure, I could agree with that. Original Vintage said borders and tariff countries who don't play ball, it's a layup for the leftist media to spin that. I can respect America wants to take care of America, but the world isn't interested in it. The world doesn't actually have to be interested in it technically, right? The truth of the matter is that the U.S. pays the majority of the burden for every other country's military defense through NATO, and then when any skirmish worldwide happens, the U.S. generally the U.S. is like better now. Yay, nay, maybe. Yo, Emmett.
Hey.
What's good?
No, you sound okay.
Okay.
I didn't hear your robo. I don't know what is
weird.
What he's talking about. Wars? Say something. Or I can't hear you anymore at all. Hey, yeah, it's you. I don't know what's going on, but we can't hear you right now at all. Hello, everybody. I'm just here to help verify the sound quality. It's current. It's now it's the amateur. I'm gonna go ahead and break TOS. We started with the F word. You can't hear me either? Dang. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with you. You should be able to hear me, Grumple. Yeah, I know. I'm good. I can see my mouth moving. That means that I have sound coming through. By the way, I'm gonna be chilling a little bit now that I'm here and unable to. Oh,
Hello.
there you are. You're back.
Okay, good. Jeez.
You cancel my shilling. Damn it.
Oh.
Okay. I will not chill, Abe. I will not chill.
Why?
Yes, I wanna play that video so bad.
Which video?
I was sent a video yesterday. Well, yeah, it was yesterday now, but today, in the sense that I haven't go to bed yet, and it breaks TOS, so we can't play it. But it was funny. I'll send it to you.
Is it Jake?
Jake? What do you mean, Jake?
The one who got attacked, or is it something else?
No, it's something else.
Oh, okay. Can send it to me in Discord or whatever.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I don't know. I'm okay. I'm tired, but I'm okay. A lot of craziness in our country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting crazier every day, I think.
I'm not entirely sure it's getting crazy. It's just. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, I wasn't planning to come up. I just saw you having some audio issues. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and help him troubleshoot.
Oh, that's nice. Very kind.
So I sent to you the
Thanks.
video.
I see it.
Borders and tariff countries who don't play ball is a layup for leftist media to spin that. Who the fuck cares? You know what is a you know what is an actual layup? An actual layup for our media would be to actually do shit we want to do. That would be a layup for us.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, here would be my question to something like that, right? Like, okay, the international or the world leaders or the media see what Trump is doing and saying, and they say, well, we'll turn this on him. Okay, cool. What happens if the US says, fine, the rest of the world can do its own thing? We're going to either take you over or we're just going to leave you all to your own devices and you get nothing from us, period. And we will not help anyone anymore. What happens then?
Well, they're not gonna do anything, right?
Well, the thing is, like, plenty of nations are kind of like the US in the way that they can survive with what they have. They're fine. They won't have as much, but they can survive fine, right?
Well, not exactly. There's a lot of nations that depend upon the currency of the United States. So there's a lot of things that are tied up to the US dollar.
Sure.
Not only
I get that.
not only in like the actual value of the entire country is tied up to the dollar pretty much. So it can be the case that if they do something like that, they get absolutely fucked.
Right. Well, that's kind of my point. The moment that the U.S. takes its hands off of helping, of production, of protecting the the sea lanes, the trade routes, all of everything. Like everything the U.S. does.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your audio dropped out again, I think. Yeah, I can't hear you anymore. Well, he deals with that. I'm gonna go ahead and do my shilling. If you want to have your own pixel character that is gonna be able to talk with you, all you have to do is have OBS. I'll set it up for you, and I'll do them for 50. They're gonna be way more detailed than this one that I'm using. They're gonna be more on the line of Abe's. If you want to actually see it, we can get it up for you. So, oh, what the hell happened there? That is weird. Oh, there. Fucked it up. But if you want your own character, it's gonna look like this. So, I was thinking about I was thinking about 50. Okay, too. If you're gonna be on your phone, you cannot use it. As I said, I'll sell it if you wanna. If you want it, I can set it. I can set it up for you. That's part of the thing. I'll set it up for you. How much time I could do for 5 or 10 minutes? I think is $1 a minute. So you have to send Abe a cash app for 10 if you wanna do it for 10 minutes. So
do what for 10 minutes?
Silence, timeout.
Oh, timeout.
Yeah, if you want a timeout.
Who do they want a timeout?
K2.
K2. Gunning for K2.
So I will be getting it set up. I'll be working it up so that it works with you, and that is how much. And it's gonna be able to blink, and I'm obviously gonna be making it. If you want accessories, I can actually make the accessories too. So if you wanna take out the hat, I can take out the hat.
I get where you're coming from.
How about 20 and 2 weekends of forced karaoke? Fine deal.
Coverage
But
vintage. Go ahead, sorry.
But if it's 2 weekends of forced karaoke, you have to be there when I start, and you gotta end up when I end up, and that can be 12 fucking hours. Okay.
Damn. I get what you're saying, the US as a consumer. I get that. But the US has the capability to produce most, if not all, of the goods that it requires for its own survival. And yes, it's a consumer on the world stage. But that's like saying we're at the bar and there's 111 people there, and there's one really rich guy, and he's the biggest, strongest guy, and a huge bar fight breaks out, and he has security and is the biggest, strongest, rich guy, and he can pay tabs and settle the fights and keep it from getting worse and people from dying. And he will have demands. He'll say, look, if you guys want this cleaned up, you got to play by my rules a little bit. Or he can allow it to continue. Nothing will happen to him.
You can pass out drunk. I don't care. We already work. It's already. It's fine. It's fine. K2. He's our Canadian.
True.
Our Canadian.
Okay.
Especially now that I'm imposing another blockade on Confluence.
Oh, another blockade.
Yeah, there's a second blockade on Confluence. We're gonna blockade it. Well, and to be fair, I'm not gonna do that. I'm kidding right now. But I had a small kerfuffle with an idiot.
Another one
today. Yeah, I was like trying to talk to Marilyn, and apparently the guy didn't like my tone.
Who?
No, his name is some dude. He's supposed to be a Catholic, and he wasn't. Just tell me.
Oh.
Like the first thing he said to me is like, "Oh, I know you are a loser that's never had a wife and are poor." And I was like, and then he was like, "You're from another country. We're gonna send dice to you." It's like, okay, fine.
You're like, good luck.
Like, do it. I don't know.
Isn't it counted as fraud if you call in somebody that's not?
Well, he doesn't know anything about me, so I was like, well, where are you gonna send them? How are you gonna send them?
Yeah, exactly. I heard that guy talking earlier. He sounded like
The only
he was
thing
a
that
little
pisses
too
me off
self-righteous.
is the only thing that pisses me off is that he says shit like that. I try to talk back, and everybody's like, "Oh no, him, it's too mean."
Everybody thinks you're too mean. I
I
think it's
am
funny.
too-
Still to this day, you and I have been talking, hanging out on here for months at this point. It still continues to happen to you like almost every time. People will not argue your points. They go directly to character assassination of you rather than arguing with you on the topic. Like almost always.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I really bring out the crazy in the crazies.
You do. You really do. You have like a special talent for drawing out the crazy personal attacks.
I'm not even trying. They just really got it.
I mean,
Because they
that's
have nothing
possible,
else.
lower class.
It's really that easy. Yeah. I started lower class. Started watching your debate. God, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. I just
Wait, you watched
hate.
what?
He had a debate with Flow State, and Flow State is annoying, but the actual the actual person that I lost my shit with, it was 10th Man. 10th Man is a retard.
I know.
Ugh. No, I know why. Like today, I was trying to talk to Marilyn. I was a little bit uh, heated with her. I was like a little bit heated, and you can't be heated because she's a woman, and yeah. I didn't realize at the moment. Okay, if I had, I would have called him simp. But I realized later on that that's what happened. What happened was, you know, she's a woman, and you cannot talk shit to a woman because it's bad.
Yep. Sadly but truly.
Yeah, I know you don't give a shit about his opinion, and I agree with you that we shouldn't give a shit about anything he has to say. I'm just saying that he pissed me the fuck off. Like immediately pissed me off.
Yeah. Worldview and framework dictate how you use those brain cells. And so if your brain cells are being used for a bunk ideology or worldview or framework, you're going to get the bunk answers and bunk reasoning. And then if you add in a tinge, just a twinge of rebelliousness, for whatever reason, it could even be legitimate, right? You could feel harmed, hurt, wronged by a thing and turn against it, and that's your rebelliousness. But if you don't seek to fully understand that thing in a way that, I don't know, you give it some good faith, so long as it gives you good faith, then yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I was having a discussion with somebody about that recently, that there's a difference in the way, and it's not a crazy difference. It's just like, my approach is different because my nature is a little different. So some people would be straightforward, real, harsh, and they just don't care what you think or feel about it. And I can't say that I care what other people feel about it, but I want to know what they think so that I can find ways to break it down in a way that they can change or overcome it, or at the very least, show me that they're disingenuous and they don't actually think or care or feel that way. And if I let them open up and splay it all out, and I question it down to the bedrock of what they are saying, and they crush themselves with it, I think, in my opinion, that's better than me having like a yelling match or insulting or any of that. I don't need any of that. They can crush themselves, and they can do it for the whole world to see.
Well, it's true that you can get that kind of I agree with you. Like I think it's true that you can let the other people hang themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have different approaches. You and I have completely different approaches to debate and to interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like way more spurgy,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to be way more on the. I tend to be more on the attack and less on the Socratic method.
I think
So
that's
I
what
would
makes
be
us a good duo, though, too. Because
yeah.
sometimes that approach is needed, and it's not what I do. So your approach comes out when sometimes when it's needed, and I'm patient, so I'll just be like, okay, go ahead, chew them out, you got it. And then if it's like over the top, and I'm like, wait, there's a niche here, I need to jump in because I can whittle that one in. Then I do. I think that's perfect. It's perfect. It's like good cop, bad cop, you know?
Yeah, it's like the time. You know what is a good time that actually I think it's shown like the difference between you and I, and it lead to like a good conversation. That time that Flo and Sarah went to your panel, and I was like talking to them both, and I was way more aggressive in a sense, and you were more patient, and we were trying to give the same kind of argument. That was like a good moment. We were both like really synergistically interacting with them.
Yeah, I think it's good because there's a certain level of how you argue or how you try to get to truth in people that people don't understand. And because they don't understand it, it comes across as either like a full-blown attack or assault on them, even though it's not, even though it's like literally you just trying to get them to answer or whatever it is, right? Whether it's a claim or an action or whatever it is. And to them, it feels like it's coming across like you're doing like slander or character assassination, even though it's not. And I think that's why people attack you, your character, is because they feel like theirs is being attacked, even though it's not. It's almost like yours elicits the response of internal conviction in them. And when they feel that, they attack you for it rather than answer for the thing. That's what I think it is.
Well, I think it's both. I think it's I think they feel that I am attacking them personally, even though I'm not. Because why would
You
I?
don't.
And
Yeah.
and the other part is, uh, I don't know. I even I think my presence kind of trigger them.
True.
Like from the right and from the left. For some reason, it's like I have something that's gonna trigger them.
You're rather good at it.
And or even like if I come on, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna come with this argument, and immediately instead of thinking about it, they just go and it's like, oh, it's because you are this person or you are this thing. Like, oh well, I didn't know that. I didn't know you knew me that well, but I guess.
Right. Well, you're a public personality now. Now they can watch you.
Well, it's kind of weird because you see, Dark Abe is talking with Dark with Abe.
Yep.
Let me change that real quick.
Well, I think part of it too is they attribute all these things to you rather than ask questions to find out. They'll just believe it, and because they believe it, they just act as though it's true, right? Like they believe your character is this way, so they're going to attribute it to you as if it was true, even though it's only real in their head.
Yeah, I can see that as the truth.
Pretty sure.
And most of the time they don't even deal with the argument, just pure attack. Like I was trying to figure out what the hell was Merlin trying to say to me, and the other guy went directly to assassinate my character immediately.
Yep.
The first thing at Emmett when help take Emmett way too seriously. Like today, literally, they ask what is seen, and I said my answer was when a smoky man talks because a smoky man bad. That was my answer. It's the trolliest fucking answer you can get out of somebody when it comes to, and I made this, which is my neck beard and my Reddit cap, because I was supposed to be a gay theist. Not even an atheist. Like
right. Right. A revolutionary gaytheist.
Yeah, well, revolutionary is too much. A Reddit mod. I'm Reddit more tier 4. Gay theist. No, I was gonna use all of the Reddit tier arguments when it comes to it. And then what is seen is when the Smoky Man talks, because Smoky Man bad. And the guy went full on like, I don't know what you think, I know what you believe or anything. He's gonna start talking crap about you. And it's like, okay.
Wow. People be crazy. People be crazy.
To be fair, this character is way too good dressed to be a Reddit mod.
True.
There's no way a Reddit mod has ever seen a shirt in their life.
No, they'd be wearing like a deer costume or something.
You're roboting a little bit, Abe.
You're roboting.
Okay, you're stop roboting now.
You're roboting, Emmett.
No, you're roboting.
No, you're roboting. No, you're the Terminator.
I have an amazing sound now.
I know.
I finally got it right after a couple of tries. And I can be really loud if I want to.
That's crazy. How'd you achieve that?
I just made it happen, to be honest.
I see how you are.
I thought I met on Team Rocket.
Yeah, it looks like a
on
Team Rocket
with
character.
that character. Yeah.
Team Rocket blasting off again. You just do that and rage quit.
Yeah, I should do that. Next time that happens, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, Team Rocket blasting off again." And I did get on my feels. Not gonna lie, I was so mad. I was more mad because I started calling him a PDF, and so everybody in panel was like, "Don't say that. Don't ever say that. Why would you say that?" Because he is. It's like, what do you mean? Because he is.
Well, I don't know. That one's pretty harsh, but
hey, Juicy.
You know.
Oh yeah, I thought Emmett on Team Rocket with that character. Yep.
True. K2. That's what I saw immediately too. It's like, oh, I didn't know there was a new Team Rocket member.
I will not. I don't agree with that. Oh, I'm listening to this. Wait, my bad. But yeah, still building Warhammer.
That's badass,
dude. They're so cool. They're so. The only problem I have is they're so small, and I'm probably gonna start painting
You need, like,
these.
giant glasses.
No, I got a lamp that has a magnifying glass on it, so
Oh.
I'm gonna be
Does it have the
changing one
clips
of my
too?
lamps. The
Does it have the
clips.
little arm clips too? If you get like the electrician's one, or like
No,
one
it's just
that's
a
made
lamp.
for doing circuitry, you can get one with the arms with clips, and you can hold things in place and adjust the light and the focus, and then you can like paint or carve
Well,
or
to be
glue.
fair, I didn't think about that, and what I got is a miniature holder
Okay, well that's cool.
with with magnets. I want
Howdy.
Chipurno. What is Chipurno?
I don't know. It sounds like if you read it out loud, that person watched your,
My what?
porno.
Cap, I know what he's talking about.
The boot.
Helgas has really awesome uniforms.
We know you love
I
them.
am willing if anybody wants to for me to paint Warhammer. I'm gonna be more than willing to paint for you.
That's
I
exciting.
get them build and everything, but I'm not planning on getting Helgast. I might get later on. I might get myself some Kriegsmen. They're pretty similar to the Helgast. On the Helgast minis. Yeah, I will be more than happy to do it. Let me just finish one, see how the painting goes, and then we'll see. Because painting is complicated.
What's your plan this evening, Emmett? Besides jumping up here because of my robotness.
I just came here to help you with your robotness. That was all my
No,
plan.
you couldn't have known I was gonna robot. So
And
if you came here
I see you roboting, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and help Abe.
You can see sound.
Yes.
That's intense, Emmett. You saw me
Nah.
roboting.
Yeah. Well, I might be on drugs, to be fair.
That would explain why your eyes are so yellow.
No, that's because I am a vampire. Get your facts straight. I mean, I'm totally not a vampire.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Next time I see you, I'm gonna bring garlic and a cross just to check.
Yeah, but you gotta
hope
make
you're ready.
pasta.
Obviously.
Okay.
Can't bring garlic without pasta. Okay.
Okay. Then we agree. Synesthesia equals efficacy, sound, smell, word.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you something about synesthesia. So I have experienced synesthesia before. I only experienced it every time I had a specific kind of very simple drug. I experienced it, which is the only one I experienced, by the way.
I can smell colors.
Well, I could taste words, and it was amazing. Like
That's
if you said chocolate, I could like taste the word.
That's creepy.
And I could like the colors necessarily were making sound, but the thing I remember very very specifically is the taste of words. Like I could taste words. And it didn't end well because my friend who was my friend who I was at the time decided to say the word vomit.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was wondering. They'll start saying all the worst things they can possibly think of until you.
Yeah, that was not great.
Yeah.
To be fair, I couldn't taste anything after vomit.
That sounds pretty terrible.
No, I'm not a mushroom. It wasn't mushroom. It's a very simple drug. Like I think most people have at least had it once in their life.
Well,
Aspirin. no, not aspirin.
Tylenol.
Tylenol.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. No,
Don't give Stillman more ammo. I'm not giving Stillman shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of
Have
thinking
you seen? Have you seen the Stillman? I saw the Stillman. I've seen the Stillman in the weirdest fucking places, dude. The weirdest places.
I mean, I see him pop up from time to time in a chat, but not.
I was watching the protest, and he appeared on chat during the protest on a weird random protest stream I was watching. It was just there.
He's just surfing everything.
I don't remember when I saw it the last time. I don't remember when I saw him the last time, but I've been like seeing him every now and again.
Huh. Interesting.
He of course still completely banned on my channel.
Well, of course. We have principles after all.
Well,
right.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
No, I'm thinking about being done for the night.
I bet you want to get high. No, not really.
Whoa, now. Calm down. Calm down, chat.
I saw him in the forest growing out of a tree stump talking to a squirrel. Oh, man.
That's his favorite pastime.
Yeah, all I was gonna do is, like, to be honest, all I was planning to do today is finish one of the Space Marines, one of the Terminators.
Oh.
That was my plan for today.
Fun. Sounds like good times.
And I've been watching a lot of videos of painting and kit bashing. Kit bashing is when you modify the figurines
Mm,
from Warhammer.
the fun stuff.
I've been thinking of getting a building a specific shield. So a different, like, there's a sword from a specific
kit.
They're called a dread knight. And I was thinking of taking that sword, put it on a dreadnought, and creating a shield from scratch for that dreadnought, and get a dreadnought with sword and shield.
Okay. I have to play something.
Okay. And go live?
Not Voltaire.
I mean, I could go live if you want to see me building more Space Marines.
If that's the case, I will raid to you. But I'm gonna play this clip.
I don't even know if they want to, like, to be honest.
They do want to.
Because I'm really bad at doing it. Quite literally, I have to use my cell phone as a camera, and I cannot freaking see that well.
Okay.
I have eye vision problems.
They
so
like you more than most of the other people that are alive. So.
Well, who's live right now?
People. Other people that aren't you.
Who is live?
I'm not telling
Low
you.
State? Who else?
Exactly. Okay, here we go. Dude, work, would ya? Jeez. You see this?
Yes.
Every time I try to grab the thing, it won't let me.
Gun owners wielding now banned firearms are being invited to raise their hands as of Monday if they want to turn them in for federal cash.
Every assault-style firearm out of our communities is a step forward for public safety.
2,500 makes and models of assault-style weapons have been declared illegal since 2020, and permit holders who are still in possession of any of those weapons at the end of October will be breaking the law. The feds will be reaching out to owners by mail or email. They can join the program until March 31st. So far, Quebec is the only province fully participating.
It was unacceptable to be forced, or that would be, put in place without us. So we've decided to negotiate.
The Sûreté du Québec will be gathering and destroying the assault weapons. In most other provinces, the RCMP will do the work, even if premiers are not on board.
Why do we want to take on that whole headache?
Alberta and Saskatchewan have passed legislation barring the program from their jurisdictions.
We're hopeful that we can find compromises.
A pilot project in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia last year collected just 25 firearms from 16 people. The federal government has devoted $700 million to the program since its inception in 2020. They admit not everyone who applies will be paid.
If this is about public safety, why have they openly declared that compensation is not guaranteed?
While critics accuse the Carney government of targeting law-abiding gun owners, gun control advocates call the buyback program a major step forward.
I'm very, very happy, proud to be part of the government that does it.
Nathalie Provost was shot for...
It's like moms against guns. Like, that's what this feels like.
Well, that's what it is.
Do they even have a clear codification of what assault?
No, of course not. I was
means?
talking to Confluence about this the other day, and Confluence assured all of us that not all weapons. And I told him they pretty much said that I think it's 7 rounds. 7 rounds is considered to be high capacity magazines.
That's retardation.
And they were like, and I might be misremembering. It might be 5. Like 5 rounds are like high capacity magazines. So everything that has more than 5 rounds are considered to be
that's so stupid.
Like high capacity, and then they're like every single thing that they consider to be like assault or tactical.
Yeah,
I think pistol
tactical. Yeah,
every single pistol grip is like banned.
Yep.
Most of the semi-automatics, because it's not, when I read it, it's not only they didn't make like a specifications.
That's what
For
I'm
example,
saying. That's what they always do. Every time.
What they did, it was pretty much they put up a list of different kinds of weapons, and it was a huge list.
Yep. And what it'll do is they'll do that, and then they'll say things that resemble this are assault style. Resemble? Like, you could paint any weapon black. You could give any weapon cool looking grips. That doesn't change the weapon, but that's the game they play, because there's enough people that don't know the difference. And because one looks scarier, it must be an assault one. Even if it's the exact same rifle or pistol or whatever.
Yeah,
it's the same game
the
they
whole,
play in the US.
The point of what they're trying to make. Sorry. The point of what they're trying to make is to get rid of the guns themselves.
Yeah,
they don't
no
care.
mistake. Make no mistake. It'll be assault today, and then assault will grow to encompass any weapon that assault can be committed with, which is all weapons. Then you take all of them.
And by the way, for people who want to think that that's going to help and that's going to be like the end of gun violence, if you want to know of a country that has a lot of regulation and control when it comes to guns, you can look to the southern border. And if you think, oh my God, how is it possible that the southern border, the cartels have done many weapons? Well, who would have thunk about that? I guess.
It's almost like evil finds a way to do its deeds. It's almost like it doesn't matter if something's legal or illegal, there will be people that do it. And if you keep all the people from doing it, even the ones that will follow the laws, then the ones that'll do it illegally will just do it even more. Generally.
Yeah, it's not about how legal things are. It's never about that. Nobody.
Yeah, that's the point, not Voltaire. The moment you start banning the weapons, but weapons still exist, The only people with those weapons are now the people that have them illegally. Because law-abiding citizens are going to follow the law. And if the law is not having them, well, they won't have them. Which means only people that are willing to get them illegally, which is criminals, will then have them. Which will always be the case.
And it's not like guns are going to go away. That's not what's going to happen.
And both Canada and the US are trying to use the tactics that were used on Australia to say, well, if we do what they did, then it'll get rid of all of violence. We're not the same people group, first of all. Our culture and our origins are not the same. And there's so much to that statement. Like, it's dumb. It's dumb. Look at just as a for instance, look at what just happened in Iran. Do you think 12,000 would be the number, or that event even would have taken place if the general public of Iran had any level of gun ownership and gun rights?
Well, first off, it cannot happen if you have gun ownership.
That's my point.
It's impossible, because it can happen, but at that point, what you're seeing is a firefight. Like, you're actually getting into a firefight.
Right. A war.
And there's a lot of people, and we've seen this before. It has happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that you have something as sophisticated as the U.S. military, then you're thinking there's not going to be any way that you can have any kind of possibility for the other side to win? Maybe, but even with the U.S. military, there is a lot of restrictions and a lot of alliances that could happen. So at the end of the day, you will be fighting U.S. military versus U.S. military.
Not just that. Well, yeah, that too, but not just that. Like, look at every modern war that has been fought. Everything falls to guerrilla warfare, and that's going to end well with a nation this size and a populace this big. When you have the motto, "You can pry it from my cold dead hands," is a normal thing. You try to confiscate, see what happens with a populace this large that has those beliefs.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see kind of. I don't think we're ever gonna see this kind of.
No, the left will keep pushing for it, but I don't think it can feasibly happen.
Well, I don't think it can do it right now. I don't know if you. Well, I've said this before, but I think the whole thing of the left at the moment, what they want, civil war.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're already saying it now. They were calling the right crazy when we're saying this resembles the start of the Civil War. Things happening are too great of a divide right now. We're looking like Civil War territory. And then now they're out trying to stop ICE, saying we're already in Civil War. Now they're saying it outright in the streets. So it was said repeatedly over the last several days during these Milwaukee demonstrations, riots, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
ICE obstruction groups.
The Karen. The attack of the attack of the Karens.
Not Voltaire. The trick is to realize that all government is. The right to keep and bear arms was never about hunting or sport or anything like that. It's always been about the militia and the ability to stand up to both enemies inside the country and outside, including the government itself, which, if you look at history, we all know that every government has some level of capability and propensity to tyrannize the people. So, with that in mind, the founding fathers, as well as the early thinkers of the U.S., knew this, that tyranny generally comes to countries through government over time. And if the populace is armed, it's much harder for a government to grow in power to the point where it just supersedes the will of the people.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they'll say, and this is something that people need to realize too, they'll say that this is a democracy if you can keep it.
Yep. If you can keep it.
Okay. Now, I think democracies are gay. So.
It's just any governing system.
I
you
would
wanna
say
keep a
specifically, I would say democracies specifically.
I agree.
Kinda
You know I
uber
agree
gay.
with that. But the point would be that you can't have any just governing body without it having the threat of teeth or misaction from its own people, right?
Well, I see the misaction or the inaction of a government. I see it as their election. Their duty is to act.
Yeah.
That's why they have power.
True. That's not false. But
And it's not only me, by the way. That this is also shared by leftists in general. You talk to them, the first thing they wanna, and this is why I say, like, everybody likes everybody. Libertarians as well. Everybody likes authority. Everybody. I never met a person who is not an authoritarian at heart.
I mean, to a point, right? There's some wackadoodles out there that don't want anybody to say anything about anybody or anything, and they just want to do their own thing, and they want everybody else to do their own thing. At least they
Okay.
think they want that. But in reality, if they ever saw a world like that, they would hate it.
I have an example. You know Fabian Liberty, right?
Yep.
So Fabian Liberty says that he is a radical anarchist.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was at Speakeasy after a debate. I think he had a debate with JS.
Uh-huh.
Might be wrong, but I think it was JS. And it was about Trump. And when he was working at the end of the debate, the upper panel, one of the things that really caught my mind was him saying that he wanted the people in government right now to pretty much to be trial for treason, and he wanted them to be so far up a tree that they would be hanging. And it kind of caught me off guard because he is an anarchist, and the question would be, who would do that? Who is he appealing to have the authority to take the politicians that we have right now?
The people.
And you know,
The people, but it's still authority, regardless.
exactly.
It's
So
almost like force doctrine is just true.
it's almost like he wants, you know, it's almost like he agrees with me, and he actually wants authority.
Yep, one way or another.
So when he goes and says stuff like that, it's like they have to be, you know, they're stealing from us, and they have to be hanging, and all of that is done through authority, all of it. So
Well,
I don't see
unless-
any reason to believe that
Unless he's talking
these
about
persons would be
mob
different.
rule.
I mean, he could.
Which is kind of authority, but it's not a coherent authority, right?
No, I think it's still authority. You're still appealing to the mob.
It is, but it's not a coherent, structured decided authority, right? Like it's not a power placed in something. It's an amorphous blob of authority, basically. Which
Yeah,
I think is
it's
worse. Much worse.
it is. It's like it's an amorphous thing. I will go live K2. I'm just trying to figure out if I like.
Yes.
I'm trying to put my setup with my phone so that whatever I'm doing looks good, because I was supposed to get my
I agree.
lamp today and I haven't gotten my lamp yet. So I don't have what I usually what I was putting my phone at. It's not here anymore, and I'm not happy with how this thing is looking.
That's because you're grounded, Emmett.
Oh yeah, it's because I've never seen a woman in my life. That's
You
why.
saw the short, right, Emmett?
Yes, I did. Screw you.
It's good. Good
Screw
stuff.
you.
That's peak cinema right there, Emmett.
Oh man.
Peak cinema.
Here you go for a moment thinking, oh, Abe's gonna say something nice about me.
Well, you know, I think what I said about you is nice.
Oh fuck.
Because in reality, what does it mean to be grounded?
Means to be based.
Down to earth, realistic, based on it. You get things that most people are not. And so if people got what I was saying in a roundabout way, I'm saying you can kind of take the punches. You kind of still stand your ground no matter what. You don't go with the wind. You don't get pushed off into the weeds. You don't let them get you into a wishy-washy place. You stand your ground. You stay based. You stay grounded. And you don't let them take you to their place of stupidity. I know I said it in a way that was super comical and made you sound like you're actually a punching bag, but the truth is you're just steadfast.
Uh if you see it that way, you're correct. And I can agree with you.
But I made it sound way funny by saying it the way I did.
The way you said it was probably way funnier.
It was, I think it caught everybody off guard in the moment, that's for sure.
I was so annoyed.
What? You were annoyed?
That's the thing I remember feeling. Maybe I was wrong.
I can imagine you feeling annoyed. I can imagine that. But it was funny. It was very funny. And you know that I don't, think you should be beat on. Otherwise, I'd be way meaner to you. I'd be mean to you like I am to Steelman.
I don't think you're mean to Steelman. You're so nice to Steelman.
Am I?
I am way meaner to Steelman.
I think you and I have different meanings then. You see, yes, I'm polite to Steelman. Yes, I let him speak. But when I converse with him, he ends up looking like a schmuck idiot to the rest of the world.
Did you ever see the time that he went to the podcast with Father Deacon Ananias and the Church of Logos and all of these guys? You know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, say it again.
Did you see the when he went? There's a video that's called "Talking to Gnostics" by the Church of Logos.
No, I haven't. I don't think.
The Church of Eternal Logos. That's the name of the channel.
Yes, I've seen the channel.
Father Deacon Ananias and Father Deacon Ananias and the guy from the channel and another couple of Christians were there talking to him pretty much. and like trying. They were like looking. I think they were looking for Gnostics, or they were
Okay.
looking for. They were looking for something. I don't know what they were looking for.
Okay.
And they ended up talking to this guy.
The steel man?
And yeah,
Yeah, I think I've seen this interview or this.
he's kind of unhinged in the interview, but he's unhinged.
Yeah.
And the guys are just like trying to explain to him like how they see it, kind of.
Yep.
And he is like, "No, you guys don't understand. You're not getting it."
And they're like, no, you don't understand. You're making connections that don't exist from nowhere.
Yeah, they were trying to explain to him like where that it was weird because I would think they would go with pure presupposition, but they kind of I didn't know that, and at least I didn't know that Fadika and Ananias was kind of
I'm way nicer than Tampon Tim. Is that true though?
What the fuck?
K2, you've watched me debate people. You even seen me call Emmett a dum-dum before.
That's true. I got dum dum from you. Now I call
One
everybody
time.
a dum dum.
Just one time. That was such a funny moment. Everybody's like, whoa, whoa. Like, since when do you insult? Okay, calm down.
The funniest one was, "What the hell is even that?"
What the hell is even that? Yeah, that was good.
Well, he didn't say what the hell is even that. He said, "What,
the hell is wrong with you?"
What the hell is wrong with you? Yes.
That was pretty funny.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You think so, Frosty?
I might
would
need to
say-
buy the glasses with lenses so that I could use those as my way, or probably something I can put on my forehead in order to do the painting in the camera. Because I don't do it. I just bring it to my face, and I do everything up here instead of where I'm supposed to.
I think my chat doubts that I could be mean, Emmett.
I don't think you've never had the only debate we've had when you got a little bit mean was behind closed doors, and I don't think we can even have the debate in. And there's another reason why we don't debate each other. It's because I think our arguments are way better than whatever the retarded leftists can get. So giving them ammunition is dumb. It's a stupid idea. What would we give them?
There's several topics I won't touch. I definitely won't touch the devil's advocate for. And
I would not touch devil's advocate for abortion, for example, ever.
I won't either.
Never.
I won't either.
There's no reason.
There's only a few, but just like the one we argued behind closed doors, I will not give that to someone. I saw somebody hint at it and try to use it, and it started to work. And if they had argued it the way that I did, that could be corrosive, like very corrosive, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. Because it's not like you did a bad job on that one.
Well, let's say I could convince people that don't believe correctly already, which is not good. It shows you though a person who can think through things could convince people of really bad things fairly easily. like the general populace.
Yep.
And we've seen it throughout history. So
Yeah, there's just no reason to have certain debates. It's just not
agree.
necessary,
I agree.
and you're just helping the other side.
Yep. I can guarantee you there's some that people in our space at the higher tier are the same way. I can guarantee it. There's certain ones.
Well, I know, for example, I know for a fact that there's no way we're gonna ever see a devil's advocate for the actual defense of abortion from Andrew. And I think he could give a way better argument than any of these
Yes,
feminists could ever do.
It wouldn't even be that hard, to be fair.
I could give a way better attack on Andrew, like on the Crucible, than any other person that I've ever heard.
That's because this is something I've been thinking about. If you have moral values and an understanding of the full framework that you are attacking, you're way more deadly to that thing than somebody on the outside who doesn't fully understand what they're arguing against.
Yeah, but for example, I could do that. I'm never gonna do it.
Right.
Like I'm gonna keep on listening to Smoky Man Bad because I think it's dumb and I think it's way more fun than to give any kind of ammunition to these people. And it's not like it's not like it's hard to find the actual arguments. People are too dumb to do it.
But what are you going to do when the CNN reporter stresses on the right word all the time?
When the CNN reporter stresses on the right word, you mean, for example, if they start stressing about using a specific terminology, or what do you mean?
Do you mean like they have a good, coherent, strong argument that actually does do damage? Is that what you mean? Because I think
I could
ahead.
make a good argument that is an actual criticism of the Crucible, and I think I would have a way better standing and grounding than anybody else who has ever tried to have a criticism of Andrew.
Yeah.
Because the criticism of Andrew is always the same. It's a Smoky Man Bad.
Right.
And I know for a fact that there have been specific things that I'm pretty sure could actually be seen as a criticism, right? But there could be an actual criticism of those things.
Yep.
Welcome back, Kat. Hopefully you can sleep soon.
Yeah, no kidding. Are you ready for a raid, Emmett?
No, but I'll go. I'll go live.
Emmett Witz, Golden Steinberg.
I'm not ready, but I'll go live.
They could ask you a question that means you either respond mechanically or simply have an answer that becomes that. Or, last option, the answer just doesn't even make sense or is too low energy. So I think that there's always the attempt to create a verbal or rhetorical trap on the right from the left, like always. And crafting your rhetoric wisely helps immensely. But even if you craft it perfectly and you leave no room for criticism or coherent argumentation, they're still going to twist it regardless. So it doesn't even matter if you can argue or convince or win the argument, because they'll still twist it either way. So all you can do is have a strong, firm grasp on the moral grounding and the principles of like tag, and understand that when you comb through everything and get to the bottom, you have the chief cornerstone, right? It all comes from that one source, and that is the end of it all. I think that's why Jim Bob harps on it the way that he does. It's because when you break everything else down, it all comes to that. And there's no way around or out of it. So.
Okay, I'm not ready for a raid. Give me a couple of minutes.
Minuetas.
But at least I have it set up, so I'm already streaming. Just let a song play, and then. Why are you spamming my chat?
Who? You should post the link in the private or in chat. I don't care which one. But
oh, you want? Okay,
then I can
I'll
throw
post
it
the
in
link too. They can hear you now. You know what? Screw this.
They can hear you now.
Yeah, they can hear you. They can hear me. I was playing music. I'm not playing music anymore. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just.
Jeez. Give them a diatribe. It's their epic rant.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like. I'm just gonna be mean. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it with your account. So cool. I made
What?
you post my link.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Like perfection. Make the owner of the channel do it without them doing it. That's some pro stuff right there. Isn't it?
Yeah. And just make you do stuff for me.
Sounds legit. All right, brother. Try to have yourself a wonderful night.
Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful night too. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
I mean, I invited myself up here, right? But at the same time, you could have just like,
you could have been like, no,
get the fuck out.
Thank you for your assistance, and thank you for good conversation. Thank you, chat, for coming. God bless you all. Have fun at Emmett's. And remember, Emmett's grounded.
No, you're grounded.
I know.
Bye-bye. Look at Lil Moo. I'm talking to my chat, to my chat now. I'm gonna leave so I can talk to my chat. But thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Good night. All right, chat. Good night. God bless. Have fun at Emmett's. We'll see you on the next one.